Hello and welcome to Benno and Hamflett in Your House, a podcast reviewing WWE's iconic New Generation and Attitude Era B shows in order from the bus back to the boom. I'm Michael Hamflett.
And I'm Benno. And Michael, I was going to say, I thought the big news was going from 1997. Still got a little bit of it left into 1998, but, oh, mate, you dropped the big one there, mate, subtly, but times are changing.
We had to, man. Like, thankfully, this podcast will never arrive at 2002 where we have to get the F out. But it was time to get it in, wasn't it? Like, we're going to start hot with a discussion on the kind of the formal changeover. We touched on the first advert dropping at Survivor Series, the only Attitude Era commercial that would ever feature Bret the Hitman Hart, literally one match before he was screwed out of the company. But yeah, like, I've enjoyed the in-between period as much as anybody, and there's still more of them to come, and certainly on next month's In Your House, it's like there are so many ends of eras that we're experiencing on this podcast, but even I couldn't refute that, like, in this particular Housekeeping we're going to get to, this was categorically the beginning of one.
We kind of got off put in both, I suppose. It could be said as well. I will say, by the way, fast forward, we will never do that era of WWE because ruthless aggression didn't exist, mate. It was a completely made up real in everybody's heads, mate. No, never a thing, never a real thing, no matter what the supposed historians will tell you. But yeah, it does. It's that weird changeover period, isn't it? It's funny. It's like, hopefully, thank you to everybody who sent us nice things about the last review. It was, a labor of love, Degeneration X or Disqualification X in Your House. But like, there is just, as we I think, captured in that show, we had a good time. Mm-hmm. There's just a moody feel around the entire thing, and it feels like the right changeover point as well. In that, like, 1987, December's always terrible. It seems like in Fed canon, and 1998, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, and there you go. Yeah, maybe they were thinking that back in the day as well. It was attitude time.
And unless you're somebody in WCW, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, and you're feeling good. Like, I was watching this, and I continue to watch, and basically, I would say that I attempt to be less tribal, but I fail because as we go through the sections we're going to look at today that bridge the gap between Disqualification X and No Way Out, or No Way Out of Texas, as it would latterly be billed for reasons that we'll get into along the way.
Just a little couple of words added on, just at the bottom there. We've talked about this before. Like, the In Your Houses, generally speaking, are divided by one of the big four or the big five pay-per-views and the like. And I would say for like a Royal Rumble season, to be absolutely fair, like, the Fed concentrate mostly on the headline acts only, which is what we're going to do here. But then to look at these roles, you wouldn't you? Like, the changeover is upon us, but the gaps between the haves and the have-nots on this roster are the biggest I can remember since 1995. Like, there is a wide gulf between the talent you need to be concentrating on here in 97, 98, and the talent that, quite frankly, are lucky to be making up the numbers in Steve Austin's house. I was going to say, like, that, I mean, yes, but also you could have Jacob and Eli Blue coming out, or you could, well, I guess we do, Timothy Well and Jason Dunn, maybe a better example, or maybe a 48-year-old man that we can mention later as well. But that'll be a nice, like, a juxtaposition when we get to it in the 5-star review later. To like I say, go back and look at the real doldrums, which are in 1995. But I suppose we should say, if we're going to get into it, Michael, you've done the Lord's work as always, putting this lovely playlist together, and you did start it with this Attitude commercial from Vince McMahon, the cure for the common show. But you thought he was a fucking genius when he came up with that one, and we got a bit of Forgotten Fed as well to get into as well, that I didn't know existed, but of course our Michael has found for us today.
Yeah, there are sort of two Vince McMahon promos. One very remembered and famous, which we'll get to first, and then a much shorter one, but something that was a bit of a rarity within WWE at the time. So it's worth kind of going back and talking about that as well. Yes, the cure for the common show, the 15th of December, 1997, a month and change removed from Montreal. Vince McMahon has made one appearance on television since the screw job, and we will get to that shortly. But here he is in his yellow suit, weirdly in the same studio-looking set that Jim Cornette has been cutting these shoot promos in. So it's almost like the
same jacket.
Cornette. Yeah, like, that's it. He's gone more Prince of Polyester than Cornette himself by this point, hasn't he? Like, he's kind of, it's as if this little backdrop, this little interview space is kind of turned into where, like, we shoot cowboy rather than the regular promo space with the bin on fire and the little mesh set backstage. And that's what it is. Vince wants to speak to us very seriously down the lens. The owner, he's keyed as the owner. And he says, it's been said that anything can happen here in the World Wrestling Federation, but now more than ever, truer words have never been spoken. This is a conscious effort on our part to open the creative envelope, so to speak, in order to entertain you in a more contemporary manner. Even though we call ourselves sports entertainment because of the athleticism involved, the key word in that phrase is entertainment. The WWF stands far beyond the strict confines of sports entertainment into the wide open environment of broad-based entertainment. We borrow from such program niches like soap operas like Days of Our Lives, music videos such as those on MTV, daytime talk shows like Jerry Springer and others, cartoons like King of the Hill on Fox, sitcoms like Seinfeld, and other widely accepted forms of television entertainment. He does mention here, not cinema. That'll come 20 years later. We in the WWF think that you, the audience, are frankly tired of having your intelligence insulted. We also think that you're tired of the same old simplistic theory of good guys versus bad guys. Surely the era of the superhero who urged you to say your prayers and take your vitamins is definitely passé. We'll definitely not put the title on him in 4 years' time. Therefore, we've embarked on a far more innovative and contemporary creative campaign that is far more invigorating and I knew I'd get this word wrong, extemporaneous than ever before. However, due to the live nature of Raw and the War Zone, we encourage some degree of parental discretion as it relates to the younger audience allowed to stay up late. Other WWF programs on the USA, such as Saturday Morning Livewire and Sunday Morning Superstars, there's a 40% increase in the younger audience. Obviously, however, needs no such discretion. We are responsible television producers who work hard to bring you this outrageous, wacky, wonderful world known as the WWF. Through some 50 years, the World Wrestling Federation, I'm stood up and saluting at this point, by the way, the World Wrestling Federation has been an entertainment mainstay here in North America and all over the world. One of the reasons for that longevity is as times have changed, so have we. I'm happy to say that this new, vibrant, creative direction has resulted in a huge increase in television viewership, for which we thank USA Network and TSN for allowing us to have the creative freedom. But most especially, we would like to thank you for watching. Raw and the War Zone are definitely the cure for the common show. Sorry, like Benno, I know people, some of listening on audio, like, do you need another sick bag? Because I see you filled that first one while I was talking there. Like, because I've forgot my tissues and I'm getting like my, you know, when you get the pain in your eyes from too many tears. Like, right. Can I go first on this? Because I feel like you're going to have the take that people actually want to hear rather than my discussion. The problem with this, it's total PR bollocks, right? It looks like every work email you've ever read if you just so happen to work in Titan Tower in this case, right? Like, is this the one time that the corporate speak and the hubris and the stupid McMahonist, like, nonsense and idiot speak was like it was actually said with a finger half on the pulse? Is this the only time in the company's history where he's done one of these and it's actually like, yeah, actually, you've kind of got the lay of the land about right?
Close enough, but it's like the old man's interpretation of like what that world is that he's in. Like for me, the things that stick out is like it's the good guys versus bad guys, and the way he shakes his head. Like, did Elaine have a boyfriend in Seinfeld who was exactly like that proper like arrogant American dad style like way that he does it, and even the way he like delivers passe, he's so fucking pleased with himself. That's where I have to reach for the bath bag. But like I say, it's what's going on. It's what we all say, isn't it? What was wrestling in 97 into 98? It was, you know, Jerry Springer. It was Jackass, you know, in a couple of years after that. It was all of the, you know, the things within like the, you know, the ecosystem of, you know, the world at that point that we were all watching as kids. It's just maybe some of the references a bit off where it's like, you know, could have said South Park there, mate. He said, you know, he goes with King of the Hill instead. Good show. But, you know, feel like, you know, the T-shirts that Road Dogg and Billy are wearing maybe indicate more what the audience will be into. Or even the way he says, like, you know, watching music videos, such as those featured on music for television. And it's like, oh, come on. Like, it's more probably Principal Skinner as much as anything else. He hasn't got quite gone to South Park yet. He's on How Do You Do Fellow Children era of Simpsons. Like, that's exactly where he is. So it's like someone's told him to say all these things, and he clearly, as we know about Vince McMahon for the 30 years the follower, hasn't seen any of these programs or hasn't turned his telly on probably in 30 years outside of to watch the competition. So it's like one of those, he's almost there, but he's still Vince McMahon, so he can't help but be a little bit far away too.
Do you have any memories of this from airing at the time and what your thoughts were as like a 13-year-old, you know, like kind of a fan young enough to mostly we talk about like we're at the age watching this show where we're very kind of attuned. I was online for the first time. You discovered the magic of like the teletext for all the scoops as well as the Mega Bowl Superstar line. So you were your own area's Dave Meltzer. So we had like enough of a sort of an inside track for the first time in our life. God, even Raw magazine was giving you a little bit of it, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. Like, so watching this, where it pulled the curtain back a little bit. Like, I remember this airing basically, and I don't remember it being maybe like as shocking as it might have been to some. If you were like a little bit younger, I think this would have been a bit of a, like, this thing is reaching through the screen and giving you a shake for the first time. I do wonder what the impact would have been on fans that were maybe like 4 or 5 years younger that had maybe only just discovered the WWF.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Because like I think no matter I suppose if you're really young, but like no matter your age, with Montreal having just happened, if you're anything, maybe I'm just saying if you're anything like us, you're on teletext, you're finding like the nascent internet to find stuff out. So I think for most people, it's happening among all of our awakenings, and we've all at some point gotten all the fucking clues that they put on TV out, including outright saying it that Vince is, the owner of the WWF.
Yeah.
The next segment we're going to talk about literally says it on screen, doesn't it? So they're starting to really, and including in this, beat you over the head with it. But I still kind of remember, like, just feel like it was almost like my attitude towards like most work shoot stuff, where it's like those who care, do care, and it adds a little bit of intrigue and adds a bit of interest. But I think for those who don't, it just goes over your head. And I just remember it just not kind of watching it going, it's just a bit fucking weird. What's he on about? Like, is he like? I guess I wouldn't know what kayfabe was at that point, but is he breaking character? Is this the real person versus what we're watching on the show? And almost lessening it in my mind for that reason, and just kind of going, anyway, where's Steve Austin? Where are the X? What's going on? Like, kind of just not getting it. And I think that's true, isn't it, of most work shoot type things, unless you're extremely like tuned in. It's kind of just nothing on TV, isn't it? It's kind of meaningless. Although for those who, who are watching for this type of thing, it's like a big, massive change in the WWF here for them to even do this in the first place.
Well, as you say, they couldn't be any clearer on the fact that he is the owner at this point. And the little kind of Easter egg add-on to this Cure for the Common show that I feel like most of our listeners and viewers will have seen is kind of a very, very small sequel come corporate Christmas card that he delivers on the 29th of December Raw, the last Raw of 1997. Where you find Vince McMahon fully suited at this point, like the jacket, the tie, a bit more sort of like toned down color scheme, and he's in one of the seats, one of the cheap seats in an empty arena. And he sat there, and it's all like, it's a bit of a beauty shot of the building first, and it zooms slowly in onto Vince McMahon. And he says, in a very short while, every single one of these empty seats will be filled with the most wonderful, the most exuberant World Wrestling Federation fans. As we reflect back on the past year of 1997, we'd like to thank all of you for the wonderful moments we've shared together. And we promise to make a commitment to you that in 1998 will be the most action-packed and enjoyable year yet. As the old saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet. Now, there's something else on the 29th of December Raw that we will get to later on. I feel like I'm saying that a lot as there are big things are coming in this housekeeping. But and Vince McMahon can deliver this message with a great deal of confidence of a couple of like aces he's got up his sleeve. But why I wanted to include this was because obviously while he's just pulled the curtain back with the explanation of how there's going to be a creative philosophical shift, which basically amounts to, here's the Raw magazine, we're going to put this on telly. Yeah. Which has been happening throughout 1997. And WWF had rarely, if ever, basically took itself out of the product and said that this is what the product's going to be now. They would do it with characters. They would actually do it by doing it rather than telling you they were doing it. This is the only time I ever remember, and feel free, listeners, viewers, to correct me if I'm wrong on this, that he is Vince McMahon, the owner, the WWF writ large, has drawn a line under like a calendar year as if to say, this was a period in time, and now we're going to do a completely different period of time. Strap in. It does not operate like that. It's a 52-week-a-year show, the show that never ends. The idea that, like, well, you know how you thought this week's Raw was the end of the world? You're not going to believe it. It's next week's Raw instead. Tune in. It's almost like against their promotional values to tell you that it's the end of something and the beginning of something new, other than maybe WrestleManias. They sometimes allow you to have WrestleMania, but then even then there's a backlash, so you never get that. Like, I think it's very telling that, like, and again, like, giving the devil his due, I suppose, he is very aware of just how good this product has been and is no longer concerned about that ratings gap, is no longer concerned about the fact that they're on about week 76 or something of the 83 weeks, because he knows in his gut the tide has turned, and it's going to be a matter of time before the numbers start reflecting it as well. Maybe that's my read as a bit of a fed head or whatever, but there's a confidence and a swagger here that we'll put it like this: 12 months earlier, fake Diesel and Razor didn't exactly have. This is different gravy back in their Fedland now.
Now, we must say also, though, as we said on the last review, this is also the Vince McMahon who's on the telephone to Jim Hellwig trying to get the Warrior back. So it's like mad. It's a bit of both to me. It's a bit of like hubris, a bit of, these fuckers won't beat me. But maybe I think there is still that paranoia within him, and he's got to put, that face on, hasn't he? He's got a, that full face culture thing of making it feel like, no, we are still the number one. They don't count. But that does go to like the wider point you say about like the rest of the world doesn't exist. Dates don't exist in his later life. Other small cities that didn't exist. You had to go with the big one. Certain states didn't exist. Time as a whole thing doesn't exist. So it is a break. And like I say, you could chalk that down to confidence, or you could chalk it down to, fuck it, we're desperate. We've got to listen to this Vince Russo knobhead, and Raw magazine's must have been doing well in the shops, I'm guessing, that like he's been convinced that like this is the direction to go forward. But like either way, it's like very clearly they're onto something, and very clearly as well, like obviously we're on the precipice of it, and we're going to be talking a bit of it today. But like if they hadn't 100% put the pieces together, it's like this is full on villain stuff too. Like he's trying to be the face of the company, he's trying to like put that best foot forward, but he is so unlikable, and the way. Even just the way he says different words is annoying, and everything, like you said, the suit he's wearing in both of these, and all of it is just a bit like, clear, this is the mega heel staring at you. This is what you need to do, and maybe that's the other thing. Maybe that's clicked in his head at least a little bit, that's what he's going to get to do going forwards, because it's right there on the screen for you as well. So yeah, I think it's all of those things kind of converging, as well as a little bit of paranoia, as well as a little bit of like, knowing how close they've come to going out of business, that maybe that's what's completed his brain here.
You make a great point there, actually, because even on his best days as a promoter, Vince McMahon was often as lucky as he was good. And I think this is an example here. Maybe even he doesn't realize quite yet what he's got with the character. The story wasn't it, that after the Brett screwed Brett promo, he genuinely believed that he was finally going to be the sympathetic figure, and it took Vince Russo to tell him like, no, you're a bigger heel than ever now, Vince. Like, so it's
those babyface billionaires,
That's it. It's like, it's interesting to watch these promos separate from the character we're about to talk about, that is ever so slightly starting to grow on screen, and kind of like assess the differences. And I think you make a great point. I think like the more he maybe looks like an office manager, the more he can start to delicately alienate his audience, but in a way that's going to make money rather than chase them off.
Yeah, and like I say, he's putting those bits together, even if it's not on purpose. Like just wearing what he normally, instead of being out there in his announcer, outfit and his raw as war jacket, just being like the uncoolest uncle in the world. He's just being who that uncle really is, and dressing how that uncle really would dress, and styling his hair in that way as well. I'm sure he wouldn't, accept being called old at this point, but like it's bleeding through the real life Vince McMahon. Not a millionaire, not a billionaire yet, but like it's to come, and he's ready for the part, I suppose, is what you can say.
Well, yeah, and what a perfect segue that is to the Raw after Degeneration X in your house, because we're starting hot with the recap. The 8th of December, it's the night after DX, and the Raw music is still playing in the background as the show opens from Portland, Maine, with Vince McMahon walking to the ring. There's a scattering of boos. And it's the first time he's ever actually appeared on television since Montreal. Again, young Benno Hamflett probably would have been watching this Raw being like, good, Vince is back on commentary. I wonder where he's been. But we are about to enter a very different world. He's got, as you say, he's not got the Raw is War outfit anymore. He's in black trousers, a black turtleneck, a cream suit jacket. My word, like this is some early look. This.
Just needs an eye patch, doesn't he? It's like full-on supervillain stuff.
Yeah, that's it. He's like straight out of the lair where they're trying to defeat James Bond once and for all. And he takes the microphone and he says, there is no denying the popularity of Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I think you'd all agree that he's getting away with murder a little bit. Like boos rain down straight away. Do not come for our Steve. He says, we've seen him assault officials. Cheers. We've seen him attack announcers. Bigger cheers, including yours truly. And his face expecting the fans to be on his side. And then just when what do you mean you like that? He says, however, last night, Stone Cold Steve Austin went too far. Last night, Stone Cold Steve Austin endangered the lives of you, the fans, by driving his pickup truck down to the arena and using it as a weapon. He also struck a referee, another official, whether inadvertent or not. At this point, there's like a massive Austin chant. And Vince has to say, excuse me, can I have your attention, please? Whether inadvertent or not, the first referee was going to disqualify Steve Austin, and yet he ended up winning. So I am demanding that Steve Austin defend his Intercontinental title against the People's Champion, The Rock, on Raw tonight. The glass breaks, and here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Vince goes to leave the ring, as he normally would, I guess, when sort of his work is done. But he just decides to stick around while Austin goes to the turnbuckles, and Austin is eyeballing him the whole time. And at this point, like a load of officials have surrounded the ring. And again, there's a sense after what happened at Madison Square Garden and what's happened with Austin and other officials in general, there is this idea that has like Vince in the background told people to protect him if things are getting a little bit testy out there. That's a new thing. And anyway, Austin is giving him the stink eye, and he clarifies, are you ordering me to do that? Vince, I don't give a damn who you are. You don't order Stone Cold Steve Austin to do anything. And Vince gets a little bit stern. He says, I'll tell you who I am, Steve Austin. I'm the proud owner of the World Wrestling Federation. And furthermore, I'm your boss. And Austin says, that doesn't impress me, says it doesn't give a damn. And Vince, like, again, starts to bow up. He's like, you don't understand, Mr. Austin. There's going to be consequences. And Austin just cuts him off and says, what are those, punk? And Vince McMahon doesn't want to share them for now. And Austin cuts him off anyway and says, if you want me to whip Vince McMahon's ass, give me a hell yeah. Huge hell yeah chant, to which Vince kind of eyeballs the audience. He's not happy with that at all. And Vince says, and that's another thing, actually. I want to talk to you about your language. And Austin cuts him off and says, damn it, Vince, you're right. And Vince says, see, your language. And Austin says, hell, son, I'm trying to apologize. Jesus Christ. He's got that like real glint in his eye. They've got this like great comedic timing back and forth already. Yeah. And Austin goes, listen, Vince, I'm going to go backstage. I'm going to have a beer. He gets another massive pop. Drinking beers has become the second most over thing about his act. In 2 weeks, he's gotten drinking beers over. He's going to have a hot dog, and he's going to think about this match. But when he comes back out, somebody is going to get their ass kicked. It might be the ref. It might be Jim Ross. It might be The Rock. It might be an official. It might even be Vince McMahon. And Vince looks a little bit alarmed ahead of that. Should we touch on this like kind of historic first, because Madison Square Garden didn't really count, did it? Should we like talk about this historic first ever Austin McMahon face-off before we get to the big development in the episode later on?
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, you can see like the pieces again all coming together. Vince still needs to step it up a few notches to become the final form, Mr. McMahon. But all of the chemistry is there, isn't it? Like you say, the comedic timing, like just the way they interact and look at each other. McMahon like is like even less so than like the month or two before, like selling more for Austin rather than, necessarily standing up for him or knowing that he's right in the situation. And like I say, a few of the lines he throws in there, half like the real Vince is probably like, oh, why are they booing me? Like even when he walked out, he's got that look like, oh, why are they booing me? What the fuck? Like, but also knowing, the worker that he is, that, this is the money here, and, setting them up to cheer for Austin is becoming, pretty much already become his job, but he's leaning into it more than ever here. And like you say with Austin as well, like Austin just, again, his time and the lines he's throwing in. I had the same note about the beer. I also wish he kept the hot dogs line, because I feel like that could have worked for Stone Cold Steve Austin when he returned it in late 2000. I feel like that would have fit that particular version of Steve Austin particularly well. But like that one doesn't get quite the pop, does it, unfortunately? But like, yeah, it's like week on week, there's 3 or 4 more things, isn't there, with Austin? We see it with The Rock, we're going to talk about later as well. But it's like, yep, he's going to keep that. Yep, he's going to keep that. And like you said, the fact it feels like it was 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, when all of the the stuff with the beer drinking and the car happened. But like we're already there, and it's already over, and it's already so different to what everybody else is doing.
I think what's interesting about it, like we're going to get to the point at which like this is the thing we recap on every single Housekeeping 6 times in a row, and it's all awesome. But like this 6 months, I would say from December through to like the summer of 1998. Vince McMahon is one of the greatest heels he has ever promoted. That's the reality. Every one of these podcasts we're going to do between now and the end of season 2, comes with what I would hope the obvious disclaimer of like separating this character we're going to talk about from Vince McMahon, the real person. But this first 6 months is actually my favorite era of the Mr. McMahon character, because I love the period where he's trying his hardest to be like a Jack Tunney that's allowed things to get out of control before he becomes like a proper cartoonish supervillain leader of the corporation. That has its own value. Evidently, that has enormous value. But like the bit where he is just desperately trying to keep his tie nice and tight and his button tied up, and he's like, come on, like this is the World Wrestling Federation. Like there's more of like there's just as much 1995 Vince McMahon here as there is 1999 Vince McMahon. This is like a real sweet spot of who this character is, and I love that. Like like even in the road to WrestleMania, all he wants is like Austin to dial it back a bit, and he can't even get that off him. Yeah, come on,
stop throwing things in, stop stealing belts. But that's the thing about him as well. Like, I almost feel like he's learned from Bret Hart. Like, it's very like his character is really just staying in the same place. It's everything around him that's changing. And like that was the nugget, wasn't it, of the early Bret Hart character? I think that's kind of what he is here. He's not really saying much different than he would have said, a year ago and would have got cheered for. But like very clearly, the world around him is changing, and that's where the best characters are, aren't they? That's probably why we'll enjoy something like this while it's in its early stages before it gets broad. And like you say, it's great when it gets broad, but it's very different at that point. Like that little nugget of reality, like I think works for character motivation and for everything they're doing here.
Well, speaking of the world changing around him, out comes the man he once promoted as a blue chipper, Rocky Maivia, for this Raw main event Intercontinental title match against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Already, like, the staging of this is magnificent. Vince McMahon is stationed ringside. So are several officials. There are several silent allusions to the screw job here. This is the most subtle Montreal screw job reference you're ever going to get out of this company that then goes on to reference it 100 times. But visually, this looks very similar to like Hart and Michaels from the Survivor Series. So there's already that little like worry in your mind that the fix is in. The glass smashes, massive pop. Here comes Steve Austin, but he's still in his shirt and his jeans. Vince takes the microphone and says, Mr. Austin, you don't look ready to fight. Austin says, well, look, I've been in the back drinking a few Steve Weisers. There's another $1 million made. And he says, I've had a think. Yeah, I've had a think. I'm not going to wrestle. I don't know why I should. I've already wrestled and I've beat The Rock. And anyway, you never actually told me what your consequences are. Are you going to fire me, Vince? And this, an all-timer, like taking your moment, taking your shot, shooting it and hitting the mother of all home runs. The Rock just like sort of pipes up, leans in and says, Vince, The Rock thinks you should fire him. Vince does this absolutely hilarious ad lib. You stay out of this, but what a money moment between these three men, like almost a foreshadowing of how much cash these three are going to make in one singular moment. There.
The balls on him.
Austin is smirking. All right, that's a hook job. Like Austin is trying not to pop at what he's just seen happen in front of him. Yeah, the ball's on him. You're totally right. Vince says, "Well, Mr. Austin, you're forcing me to strip this belt, of this belt, and give it to Mr. Maivia." And Austin's like, I'll knock your teeth out, Vince, if you do that. And Austin says, look, I've been the tag team champion. I've been the IC champion. The only belt I'm interested in is the WWF World Heavyweight title. They're swell at this point. Jim Ross, are you listening, Sean? And he says he's done all that. I got bigger fish to fry, so I'm going to hand this title over to The Rock. The Rock looks a little bit sort of like nervous. He kind of takes a look, surveys the situation, but he tentatively takes the title. This is not Dean Douglas and Shawn Michaels. He's kind of take this. And Austin goes, trust me, champ. This is all on the up and up. You did it. And Rock takes the belt, and Austin raises his arm in the air, and they sort of like turn around the ring together for a second, and then wham! Austin drills him with a stunner. DTA Rock, don't trust anybody. Austin gets in Vince's face saying, I got plans for this belt that don't involve wrestling, but you're going to have to tune into Raw next week to find out. The Rock slides out. It's like sort of all chaos and everything's going on. Vince McMahon looks furious and frustrated. He goes to leave the ring and stands on the apron. While he does that, Steve Austin slides back in, and in something he never did before and would never do again, but it's wrestling, so you forgive it, I guess. He decides randomly to run the ropes, and when he does that, he knocks Vince clean off the apron onto the floor in his lovely fancy suit. Vince McMahon is flustered as fuck, and Austin's like, didn't see you there, Vince. Sorry, mate. And obviously now we're left on tenterhooks as to what indeed Austin's going to do with this belt in 7 days' time. And the first, again, everything's a first. The first Austin McMahon physical altercation outside of that Madison Square Garden has occurred, and we're getting to look like what would happen if there was more needle between these two very different characters.
Definitely, and it's done in a very believable way. Again, it's great when it gets the other way, but like I feel like it's always an obvious plot point, isn't it? That some months they address, some they don't. Why doesn't Vince just sack him? You know, and they come up with different reasons why he doesn't, and that's the magic, isn't it? The way they do it. But like they're clearly thinking that through now, and they're making sure that it's probably a Jim Cornette going, at least say why you're not doing it, or at least reference that you're considering it on television. And then also, like, if it gets violent, for everything that's being threatened here of Austin here, if he just stunned him, like, yeah, that's another gaping plot hole, isn't it? So how can we do it in a way that's clever? Well, yeah, Austin can hit the ropes like he never has before, but also then he can sell it like, oh, what just happened? Did you just fall over? Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Like, that plausible deniability is perfect for Austin in this moment as well. But I've got to say on top of that too, as you say about the Rock here, like I say, him stealing the scene, like we shift our, like, you know, what is our focus on these housekeepings and go through these shows as we go. The Rock's become like my number one now on my little mini list. It was once Ahmed Johnson, it was once DX, and you know, Austin's still there. But like, just watching Rock through this entire segment, watching him out there with the context that he's the young boy in the situation, with the context that like his character right now absolutely suits just being given a belt. He'd soon be past that point, you know, although you can find other creative ways to give him a belt, which we'll get to as well. But like, he's just eating off this. He's fucking feeding off whatever they're giving him here, and then like turning it into gold, and it's already gold. Like, he's just got that special quality that Austin's got too, obviously, and it's just, as we keep saying, mad to see it this early.
Not to like kick certain wrestlers when they're down, but then this wrestler's always down, so you're going to have to kick him at some point. But like, it really puts into perspective when people call someone like a Seth Rollins a star, isn't it? Because like The Rock in one line creates or helps create a moment here that's like realistically better than 95% of another guy's career. And I really don't mean that to sound as brutal on a Seth Rollins, but there are levels. There are just simply levels to being the top guy versus thinking you're the top guy.
Like, you could picture a more lower card heel in this situation, just fading into the background in this and being a distant third most important character in this. He's still a third most important character, but he's right there with them neck and neck. It's like, he did similar stuff with Owen Hart, didn't he? You weren't thinking about Owen Hart like after the segment, were you? Yeah. Like, there was no real focus on Owen Hart. Like, we complained about that at the time. Like, Rock is making sure the focus is still on him, and it's still on his issue with him and Austin.
Context is a funny thing as well, isn't it? So at the start of 1997, a certain one of our favorites gave up a belt and cried while he did it and was bullied mercilessly for one simple line about losing his smile. Here at the end of 1997, another one of our favorites gives up a belt and gets cheered for it. It's funny how that works, isn't it? How you can spin doing the same thing effectively, not really wanting to do a job because of the fate of the character at that time. But it's all about context, and it's all about how you make it work. And speaking of making it work, 7 days later, Farouk technically, I guess, leads the nation out to the ring on the 15th.
His face is on the Tron. There's at least that. He's still got that run.
The Rock has just walked up to the front. This is so funny. They're all in like their nation tights and like their leather jackets and their dusters and all this sort of stuff. The Rock is in like denim shirt, jeans, bum bag, sunglasses, dressed completely differently, leagues above them. Like, I feel like we're repeating this riff every episode, but it's no less true, is it? Like, his growth is incredible week on week on week on week. To the point where Farouk goes to start the promo and like Rock cuts him off straight away and says, "With all due respect, Farouk, the champ is talking." So like, he can't even get his word in. Rock calls Austin a gutless thief for taking his belt. Farouk is so furious with the Rock for like sort of just taking the promo time. And Rock says, "Anyway, I'm the man in this ring delivering orders, and I'm ordering you, Steve Austin, to bring the belt out right now." Austin's music hits. Farouk's still complaining, but the Rock's just ignoring that. Austin comes out on the stage, monster pop, obviously. He rips the piss out of all the nation. The Rock does the eyebrow again. That's now becoming a lot more intentional. He's adding that to the act. Austin calls Rock a piece of trash, says he forfeited the belt because he was in a good mood and he showed mercy on his junky ass. That one didn't stick. But he tells him, noted this, he tells him to shut up or he'll sew his lips shut. Everything's an experiment, I suppose. Austin says, "Listen, Rock, you're way in over your head." Rock takes the microphone back and he says, "I'll give you 1 hour to return my property. If not, the nation will find you and they'll kick your ass." So we cut forward to the 1 hour later. This is telly, isn't it? What a brilliant hook. Like, stay tuned, please. You've got more of these too, and we think that's what you want to watch. You know, like easy stuff, but important to do it. Rock's in the ring. Everything's suddenly a catchphrase machine. According to the Rock's Rolex, "Jabroni, your time's up." And it's like, there's another $1 million made in the words you've just uttered. Like, we cut to a bridge on the Titantron where Steve Austin is there throwing snorkel equipment in because he thinks The Rock's going to need it. He throws in a cell phone, throws in a pager, which again should say the 316 on when The Rock checks. Austin calls Rock a piece of trash, and then he pulls out the Intercontinental title from his little bag, and he says, Rock, as much as this hurts me to do this, I don't give a damn about you. I don't give a damn about the World Wrestling Federation, and I don't give a damn about your little belt either. And he throws the Intercontinental title into the lake. The Rock is absolutely losing his mind. The nation are going crazy. And Steve Austin, even in not taking a loss, has somehow won again. Like every single detail of like what this character does on a weekly basis is all about just making this guy in the same way as Hulk Hogan was a decade earlier, but just with a different set of players and circumstances, effectively like indestructible.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well, like as much as we're raving about The Rock here, and obviously his time is coming, Austin's the one with the meteor on his back still, make no mistake about it. And the real Steve Austin / Williams in real life knows that too. So that's probably part of it as well. But like, yeah, this is perfect for everyone. Like everybody wins out of this. You get Austin obviously doesn't have to lose in the ring, but also The Rock makes so much money with that character point of how he gets the belt and all of that. And just on top of it, it's just amazing telly, isn't it? Like, this is one of the ones where if you'd have told me, like, if you told me to guess, when did this take place? I would have just 1998 at some point. Could have even been 1999. No, in the December of 1997, like this, so many times replayed and even tried to be recreated angle, like, is just imprinted in everyone's brain, isn't it? And Austin's it's that little bit of humor in there as well. The fact that he has got the snorkel, the fact that he has got the little bits of like equipment, I don't even know what you fucking call half of it, to go down there and dive, a little 90s cell phone, every bit of it, even the beeper references, and all of that stuff is just perfect, isn't it? Like he knows where like the entertainment value is too as well, without going too broad with it. It's just amazing stuff.
There will be more from Dwayne as we go along, but we're sticking with Steve Austin at the moment. He's so amazing, man.
Are we doing a raw hook? Tune in later for more of Dwayne. He's coming. Like you say, they're very on the nose with that now, aren't they? They are still in a war.
Like that's it. Stay tuned at the 8:57. It's always at like 57 past, isn't it? So they can get in before Nitro or whatever it is. But yeah, we mentioned before about Vince telling people that 1998 was going to be even better than 1997 on the 29th of December Raw, and this might be why. On the 29th of December Raw, Jim Ross is like the camera's at the announce desk, and he's suddenly mic'd up, and he isn't normally, and the whole building can listen to what Jim Ross has to say because Jim Ross is about to say something fucking massive. Out of nowhere, he just casually drops, I've got some news on Iron Mike Tyson. The WWF has just begun negotiations with him to participate in WrestleMania 14 in Boston. A graphic comes up. Jim Ross clarifies that they're not concluded yet. There's more discussion ongoing, but yes, to double down, Mike Tyson, WrestleMania 14 in Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to hear all those words quite a lot as we go through this housekeeping. And yeah, I've dropped that in now because we're going chronologically, but we will certainly pick that back up shortly because it's Royal Rumble season, Benno. And you know what that means? It's a 30-man Royal Rumble, and anyone can win the Royal Rumble. That's right. 29 wrestlers or Stone Cold Steve Austin can win the Royal Rumble. Anyone can win it. Like it's a one-man show. It's a one-man field of 30. So how did WWE get around this kind of creative dilemma of their January crown jewel effectively having only one hyper obvious winner? What they decide to do is basically make it 1 versus 29. On the 5th of January Raw, opening the new year, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin arriving at the building, swearing up a storm, and basically saying, I'm in the Royal Rumble, so everyone's probably gunning for me. That's not going to work. Austin's going to do unto others before they do unto him. And then across the show, he does it. He rocks up in the middle of a Ken Shamrock the Rock segment, decks the pair of them. He very, very famously and brilliantly and devastatingly stuns Jeff Jarrett and then mocks his strut before giving him the double bird. Mark Mero gets one. Austin glances at Sable. Just shadow boxing. He glances at Sable as he leaves, and another few $1 million is made by the two of them being on screen. And everyone has been sort of taken out on this Steve Austin path of rage that would become familiar over the years. There's various locker room attacks where he takes out the Godwins and Vader and things like that. But the gist is Austin's not going to allow his status as the marked man to do him any damage. Also, on the 5th of January Raw, we get a recap of Jim Ross's announcement at how, upon hearing JR's words, all the newspapers have picked it up. They've actually got clippings of newspapers saying,
Mike Tyson to WWF. For context, of course, he was suspended from boxing at that point. He'd bitten Evander Holyfield's ear. He was, in terms of his fame, or I guess that should be his infamy, having, come out of prison on the rape charge from all those years earlier, having won and then lost in the ring as a former world heavyweight champion. There was probably never more a time when he wasn't able to fight that Mike Tyson was a hotter property than this exact period. So naturally, the papers are super interested. This is a man that has been told he is not permitted to fight in a ring, and all of a sudden, the only sport with a ring is promoting that he might have a fight. You can see how it's this hot button. And in scenes you can scarcely believe when you're watching them. The cameras go to the offices of Don King. Like... He's the registered promoter of Mike Tyson, as it would turn out to be not for long, by the way. This is a one and done for Don King in the WWF. Him and Tyson were about to fall out, and Tyson would go on to sue him and things. But, for one night, they got the shot. They got the thing. He cuts this promo where effectively he's just doing a Carnival Barker thing. WrestleMania, Mike Tyson, I'm excited. Vince McMahon, the WWF. WrestleMania, Mike Tyson, March 29th. Still need to dot a few I's, cross a few T's. An affordable pleasure at an affordable price. Vince McMahon and I, we're working hard. We're going to get the deal done. And I think you're going down. Everything goes Libby through and Pez Watley to me in my head when somebody's running out of things to say during a promo. But you can't really like, the content's not up to much, but you can't really fault this presentation, can you? This is starting to feel massive.
Yeah, and like I say, Don King's got a lot in common with wrestling. He's the Sonny of boxing, isn't he? Like, it's like, oh, who's going to win? All right, I'm going with you. You're now my guy. That's pretty much what he does during this period, isn't it? But you're right. I love the little, he's early as well to the party. It's Mr. McMahon, like Briscoe would say in '98 as well. But it's just radiate off the screen. And I'm, again, as a kid, I was never a boxing fan, but obviously you're aware of Tyson. At this time, as a young kid, not aware of, the darker stuff going on with Tyson around it as well. But like you say, front page of all the papers, constantly there. And Don King was right there with him. Like, he was like at something, the Mirror and all of like the tabloids in the UK would love writing about. And
we knew Don King.
Absolutely. And then there's the Simpsons appearance too, which is a big part of it too. But he's a gigantic character in the world, isn't it? It's like, it's not like, say, the Tyson thing's going to be the big thing as far as making them feel culturally relevant and part of like the overall world's ecosystem. But I think Don King shouldn't be undersaid. Like, obviously he's on Raw a lot later in his life as well. But like, it's proper at the height of fame too. So yeah, it's brilliant. Just makes it all feel that little bit more real.
And again, more on that shortly, because we've got one more segment from Steve Austin before the Royal Rumble. It's all a formality, and WWF almost know that. So on the 12th of January, Austin arrives in his pickup truck. He gets backstage. He beats up the Godwins. He's so over. Like, it's exhilarating watching Steve Austin come out in front of these crowds. Yeah. The buildings, they're just, what's crazy is like, you can actually see that like the noise is growing and you think, God, they're loud for Austin. But then they'll pan out and like the buildings are getting fuller. Like, the crowds are growing by the week. You are watching the needle move week on week on week on week. The
signs are growing. More every week, isn't it? Yeah.
More every week. He is turning a business around on his back in front of your eyes week on week. Michael Cole's in the ring with him. He's basically the nicest any single wrestler has ever been to Michael Cole, compared to some of the abuse we see Cole get around this time. And Austin says, I'm not going to let the WWF yank the carpet out from underneath me like last year, which is a nice callback to the 97 Rumble, isn't it? Like, it justifies why Austin would be this way this time.
Remember that 15 years ago? It was great, wasn't it? That retro wrestling. It was the 97 Royal Rumble.
Mad. Cole says, well, with respect, Mr. Austin, you are a marked man. And Austin says, no respect. That was a stupid question. Get me a pen. And he gets a pen off Michael Cole. He tears his shirt off, and then he draws a literal target on his chest. Says, and this was big. Says,
in the gym, have we, Steve?
That's it. Yeah, he had the jacket on at DX, and now he's ripping the shirt off on Raw. He says,
sit-ups.
Like, Steve Austin's time has come, and you could feel the power like underneath that line, and the man himself rather than the wrestler. And he says he hits all his catchphrases, and then he gets gone. This is like a one-man Rumble, isn't it? And like, there's no recap needed, really. This is the one you've referenced before, where like Jim Cornette was going to recap the amount of names in it, and basically you've got Austin, a nascent Rock, and then just a bare bones undercard. Like, it gets caught out by it, doesn't it?
It's proper Cornette being like, yeah, I'll show you what a star-laden Royal Rumble is. Brian, give me the 1998 Royal Rumble list. And he gets down to Don and Ron, and he's like, oh. You can just feel it in his voice, but he has to commit to the bit. Yeah. Again, might have something in common with the 5-star review we're going to talk later.
It's the 1-man 1998 Royal Rumble. Austin gets in, kicks ass. It's notable also for Owen Hart chasing Triple H out and falling down the stairs, and Ahmed Johnson having one of the saddest nights of a wonderful career, coming out getting bollocked on commentary by Jim Ross for wearing an earring, getting eliminated, and then as he walks back to the back, it's when Karma's making his entrance, and Karma just gives Ahmed a shove, and Ahmed's just can't be bothered doing anything about it. Just carries on. Yeah, just walks to the back. It's Steve Austin's night. He wasn't wrong. His time has come. I say Steve Austin's time has come, Benno, but the 19th of January, the Raw after the Royal Rumble, is not really about Stone Cold Steve Austin, is it? How could it be? It is about Iron Mike Tyson. The WWF, Don King, Jim Ross, Vince McMahon have actually followed through on this crazy announcement, and Iron Mike Tyson, having attended the Royal Rumble as a guest of Vince and Shane McMahon in the box the night before and cheering for Cold Stone Steve Austin, doing the air boxing when Austin wins the match, all that kind of stuff, having the time of his life, they've shown on the highlight package. He's agreed to come to Monday Night Raw because there is a big announcement incoming. They've promoted this all night. You've seen like Tyson hobnobbing with a few of the wrestlers in little interstitial segments. Like the vibe is absolutely impeccable for this. It is a star has come to town, but there is just a sense that there is something more. So we go to the segment, and it's the main event of Raw, as it should be and as it would be. Vince McMahon is in the ring. He is, to use a phrase I've learned and loved through the Grapple Podcast Network, absolutely cheddared with himself. The smile is basically stretching the muscles from his cheeks. He's so happy, and he wants to make what he calls the biggest announcement in World Wrestling Federation history. The baddest man on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson. You've not heard that voice since the intro to WrestleMania 3. He's so excited. And out comes Tyson, looking like $1 million. Huge entourage with him. Jim Ross on the call is amazing here. He's like, this is big. Ladies and gentlemen, this is big. Tyson shakes hands with Vince. Vince says, Mike, it's an honor and a privilege. And Mike Tyson agrees. Vince has got the microphone. They look like they're at the happiest business meeting of all time. He's like, tell us about some of your favorites in the World Wrestling Federation. And Tyson just says, Bruno Sammartino. And like Vince pitches like a couple of more like old fucks that none of us give a fuck about, you know, those types of wrestlers that people will tell you are good, you know, the Sergeant Slaughters of the world. And like, it's just
SGT Slaughter to you, mate. Come
on. He's just kind of giving it that like kind of about all these old names that like Tyson evidently loves. Like they're not doing bullshit here, are they? He actually,
and also he probably got told, don't say Hulk Hogan, don't say Randy Savage. Like, yes, that's a go through to the memory. Like,
you can do the black and white guys, but just not the ones that are on Nitro right now, basically. So they hobnob and stuff like that, and then Vince says, well, with that, I want to announce that on March 29th, and every time he takes a pause, Lola goes, yeah, and then in this very ring, Iron Mike Tyson, and the glass smashes. A thunderous, enormous pop. I got the goosebumps already. JR just like changes tact. He says, yes, indeed. Iron Mike Tyson is standing in Stone Cold's ring, and business is about to pick up. Honestly, I can feel my legs with lightning bolts shaking through them at this point. Austin has changed everybody's plans. Nobody tells Austin what to do and when to do it. And he is the winner of the Royal Rumble. Vince, with this forced, gritted teeth smile. Hello, Mr. Austin. Why are you here? He's raging, stressed. Austin, just all action, all business. I'm sick and tired of Mike Tyson coming in here and shaking hands with all the WWF superstars. Tyson puts the hand out to Austin. Austin just rejects it. The bodies have started to surround the two men with Vince right slap bang in the middle of them. The way that this is framed in the middle of the ring at the moment just feels like there's about 100 guys in there, even there's maybe only about 10. Rejects the handshake. Vince tries to cut in and he just tells Vince to shut up. Austin says, I respect what you've done in the boxing world, but when you step into this ring, you're messing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's just something you don't do. Crowd, buzz, buzz, buzz. And Vince, Mr. Austin, what do you want? And Austin goes, I want a piece of Mike Tyson's ass. Huge pop. Vince is like, whoa. And he's like, shut your damn mouth, Vince. I'll knock your lights out too. Pop after pop after pop after pop. Austin again carries on. He says, "You're out here calling yourself the baddest man on the planet, where you've got your beady eyes locked on the eyes of the world's toughest son of a bitch. I can beat your ass any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Do I think you could beat my ass? Hell no. Can I beat your ass? Oh, hell yeah." Crowd are just losing it at this point. I don't know how good your hearing is, Mike, but if you don't know what I'm saying, I've always got a bit of sign language. So here's to you. Middle finger in Mike Tyson's face. Tyson with an almighty shove. Unbelievable volume, speaker bursting, mega brawl. It's a total melee. There are bodies everywhere. Austin gets in a fight with a black suit who had to be planted in that position because for a split second, you think him and Mike Tyson are brawling on the mat. It's incredible. Totally. Then the camera cuts to Mike Tyson. You realize he's been shoved away by his heavies. At this point, you're so buzzed that you genuinely don't care. And it's a lovely little bit of staging. Austin is just like windmilling on this guy. They get paired off. Tyson's being like kept in a corner, just like screaming across the ring. Something you can't hear, but you get the impression. He's like trying to stay cool, but that little bit of edge of Mike Tyson is coming out. There's just so many bodies in the middle of it. Austin gets like shoved out to the floor. He's looking up through the ropes as suddenly Vince McMahon's face appears and the camera catches the pair of them just staring daggers at each other. Vince is brilliant here. He kind of leans through and he says, "You ruined it, Austin. You ruined it." And he actually kicks his leg out at him because he's just losing his marbles. He cannot believe that this has happened. Austin, in response, just gets right in his face with another middle finger. Shane McMahon, a young Shane, has to hold back Vince because he's just, what's he going to do if he actually gets him? He doesn't know, but he doesn't care. He's so incandescent with rage. Tyson, again, is still being held back. This is bedlam. Jim Ross is amazing on the call again. "This is pandemonium. We've totally lost control here." And he's actually right. How often do we talk about like wrestling trying to like create chaos and it feels fake? This is chaos. This is monumental. Benno, this is the moment that, never mind the war with WCW is over. WCW is an organization, is over. It's fucking over, done, dead, RIP. The fucking greatest Raw segment ever. Shove your beer baths up your arse. Tyson and Austin, Tyson and Austin, Tyson and Austin. It gets no better than this.
Honestly, like, and that's the thing with the beer bats on Sky Sports News. No, they fucking weren't. Because I remember where I was when I first saw this. Like, I was literally got up the morning after. Was Sky Sports News around then, or was it just on regular Sky Sports?
Sports Centre. Sky Sports Centre.
Ah, that's what it was.
The 10 o'clock news bulletin. You were like, "That's the fucking wrestling."
That's wrestling. Like, to the point where, because it was Tuesday, I was like, "What's this from? Raw's not until Friday. Like, when did this happen? Like, what's going on?" Like, it was mind-blowing to just get out of bed and to see this all over everywhere. Never mind all the papers, never mind everything else. I'm glad you've got like that same memory, because I didn't see this for the first time on telly. I saw it for the first time here. I did that exact thing you just said about like Tyson thinking they're all like, "Oh, where's Tyson though?" Thinking he's getting beaten up by Austin and then realizing he's not. Like, oh, you recapped that amazingly, mate, because so many of like those big points there. JR, MVP in this, like I say, Tyson and Austin. They've got I was going to say it before, they've got a great broadcast team right now. Michael Cole, okay, he's not quite there yet. Kevin Kelly, you got Lawler. Even Vince can jump in now and then. JR's the man you want on this call, and he's thought that ahead. Not in a terrible Mauro Ronaldo way, in a Jim Ross way. He knows that's going to be the famous call. Like, it's such a big part of it. And then on top of that, like, in remembering this, you remember the fingers. You remember Austin, you remember Tyson. Like, the bit that maybe you don't remember as much, but you should, it is the Vince part. Like, I remember the visceral feeling of watching Vince screaming at him, "You ruined it." But having, like, the kayfabe reaction of, "Oh, what did he do wrong? He hasn't done anything." Like, at the end of the day, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin's ring. Like, I agree with him. Like, for all those fucking people in the papers who'd write about this in the weeks later, in the weeks leading up to it, oh, that fake wrestling stuff and this boxing stuff. Yeah, okay, that might be the case. Like in real life, boxing's real, wrestling's fake. Or it could be the other way around sometimes. But generally, that's how people are going to be like slamming this. But once Tyson's on screen and in the ring, he's in fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin's ring. Yes. So of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the character, 100% believes he could beat up Mike Tyson. Why wouldn't he? And of course, he'd be offended just by the fact that Tyson is there. And like I say, that character beat of like Vince being just offended that Austin even came out. Being mad at him that Austin, interrupted the non-announcement, because obviously they're being very careful not to say he's going to wrestle. Like even Lawler in the bit you mentioned before on commentary, where he's like to JR, so how's he going to? So is he going to wrestle? Who's he going to be? Who's he going to be wrestling? And JR just moves on quickly. Like they're trying to do that too, so they're doing both of those things at the same time. but like it's all like just it's just everyone's playing their little part so well. And like I say, the Vince McMahon side of it, as far as this Austin Vince rivalry is always massively important, on top of the fact that it's Mike fucking Tyson here in the WWF. Like, I don't think you saw the end of this in the papers, on the telly, for ages after it. Not all of it was good, which we're going to get into, but like, my God, like this was, if you didn't live through this, like this is bigger than they'll tell you it is, and that's not often true of like the clips they'll show you from these periods.
Bang right, man. Yeah, it's one of those ones where like we've had these moments before, haven't we, where you feel nervous about being able to do something justice just because you remember the scale. And even watching it now, this segment has not lost a step, has it? Like you watch it, after we're talking about it, I want to watch it again. Like it is absolutely, it is timeless brilliance. There are moments in wrestling where like they've worked on the construction. Now they work on it too hard, the framing, the blocking, all that kind of stuff. But they know sometimes that it's going to go off how they want in the head. Then sometimes it never goes off as well as they want it to in the head. This one, like, had gone off as well as they wanted before even a word was uttered. You could tell as soon as Austin and Tyson were framed with this group of people and Vince in the middle, already they'd got a million money shots between the two guys, hadn't they? For it to play out like it does, and for every single visual, you're talking what, like probably 7 to 8 individual iconic visuals here. Every single one of them hit. Like that's a kind of level that you don't get unless A, you've got like the luck and universe on your side, and B, you've got like all the talent playing all their parts to sheer perfection. Like one of the rare nights, this one.
And also, like, on top of the talent, just Tyson's crew up, but, the people who aren't talent, like, because there's always, like, it's that little undercurrent of danger, isn't it, when you do, like, the Floyd Mayweather stuff, and you do a segment like this with real people, might take it the wrong way. When Austin bumps past one of his guys, you might just take that the wrong way and blow the whole spot and ruin the entire thing. And Tyson, clearly, he's just a kid in a candy shop, isn't he? He's just glad to be involved in wrestling. He's the biggest Stone Cold Steve Austin fan in the ring, and he can't really play that down, but none of it, like, ruins it. It all plays into it so well, and, like, that absolutely, like, that could be something that distracts from it as well, but it's that, and it's Austin, just, I think as well, we're taking it for granted now that we're here, but like I know we wouldn't, but like we shouldn't. Like WWF could have fucked this up. Like it could have been, it wouldn't have been Tyson and Warrior, but like I think it's as simple as put Austin in there with him. But you could imagine Vince McMahon a couple of months earlier, maybe should do something with Sean. Like just not like needing Jim Ross to go, Steve is the guy you need to interact with Mike Tyson. It's obvious, but not that it's too obvious that Vince McMahon in like the 2 years before this might have gone another direction, might have made Tyson a happy, smiley guy who's just happy to be there, and then he's ringside like Pamela Anderson at WrestleMania, and that's that. Like somebody somewhere was like, no, the money here is him and Austin, even if we never get to the match, even if that's not a thing that we can ever promote or we can even half pretend to promote. This is going to be the thing that takes Steve from here to fucking here. Do it, and I think that's something that like could have easily gone wrong too as well, but it's such a layup that thank God they didn't, because they do. It's very simple angle done perfectly with the exact right people in the right places, and unreal.
I think I need to take a breath from Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he's in everybody's business. So I think, should we find time to come back to him elsewhere on this podcast?
Oh, mate, I think so. Though you can't. It's raw, isn't it? You've always got to come back around to it. But I suppose the X still exists, mate. I think I still love them in my heart. If you've got anything on there.
If Steve Austin is kicking ass, Shawn Michaels is flicking dick, because the night after their pay-per-view on the 8th of December, he stopped just short of getting his knob and balls out in a game of strip poker on Monday Night Raw. Two moments of infamy from this segment. I've only brought it up really to sort of illustrate the change in the life of Owen Hart, who of course returned at the Generation X. And we're going to get to how this like folds into like very big stuff going on between Owen Hart and DX, and somehow the Undertaker and Kane, and how all of this folds into No Way Out back with Stone Cold Steve Austin, because as you point out now, this is Raw, right? This is how Monday Night Raw seems to function and operate these days. They've called out Owen Hart after his attack on Sean at the end of DX in Your House. But until then, they've called him a nugget. So that's going to stick and ruin any babyface momentum he might have had when you're comparing him to a literal piece of shit in his first night as a new baby.
It's funny though, wasn't it? I mean, you were saying it to your mates at school, weren't you? I mean, we all were.
Yeah, it was brilliant. This is the problem. It was like an instant hit. And they're gonna hold Raw hostage until Owen Hart shows up by having a game of strip poker. We cut back to the ring, and Shawn Michaels is taking his trousers off. off. Jim Ross just sounds devastated and furious. We're sat here watching the WWF champion in his underwear, is what he says. He doesn't fucking get this at all. And out come the headbangers for their next match. They get in the ring. They're like, guys, what are you doing? You've got a poker table here in the middle of the ring. And DX just absolutely brutalized them. Sean smashes a bottle of Jack Daniels over Mosh's head, hits him with a steel chair, while Triple H and Chyna beat up Thrasher in the other corner. Sean, who at this point is literally just in his boxer shorts, like fairly loose fitting boxer shorts, they're not leaving much to the imagination. And the three of them do a super powerbomb on Thrasher through the poker table. Pretty good spot, actually, like they both were.
Yeah.
The cards and the booze and the glass and the detritus are everywhere. Sean rings the bell on his knob with his foot on Thrasher's chest and a bottle of Jack Daniels in his hand. Like, am I lying, Benno? Like, that's
these are the big faces, right? They should be.
Jim Ross just seems appalled. To double down, because like Sean must be looking at JR and going like, you hate this girth, don't you? You hate this girth. He gets on the post and like waves his dick and balls and arse and gooch at Jim Ross on the turnbuckle as the last little bit before Owen Hart hits the ring, hits a spear, batters him, and then DX chase him off into the hit him off into the crowd. So like the idea is like Owen still wants DX, but he knows he's got to pick his spot because they're a gang and yada yada yada. Meanwhile, DX have other problems because on the 15th of December, Michael Cole has an interview with The Undertaker where it's revealed that there will be one final battle between the Dead Man and the Heartbreak Kid at the Rumble for the belt, and it's going to be a casket match. Undertaker says he can beat Shawn at will. Undertaker says what you forgot, Shawn, is that what came with the title came with the number one contender, and that's me. One-on-one, you can't beat me. I've only lost one casket match and it took 10 to stick me in there. I've counted DX. There's not 10 people and you don't have 10 friends. So at the Rumble, basically, he's telling them that he's done for. But then Kane's music cuts The Undertaker off. Paul Bearer's with him. He cuts a brilliant promo about all the years that Kane has suffered, all the agony that the WWF superstars are now experiencing. It's all The Undertaker's fault. Bearer challenges Undertaker's manhood. Are you going to finally face Kane, or are you going to allow this destruction to continue? Kane even slaps The Undertaker, to which Bearer laughs in The Undertaker's face. And then right as Kane goes to hit The Undertaker again, Undertaker blocks. They look eye to eye, but Undertaker still holds huge pop, but he still holds his ground and he walks away. Kane stares down The Undertaker and does the big pyro in the ring. The Undertaker still will not fight Kane, but he's got that title match against this rampant DX leader, Shawn Michaels, at the Rumble. Speaking of rampant DX, on the 15th of December, the very same Raw, Vince McMahon interviews Owen Hart. Stone Cold Owen Hart joins Vince in the ring, who is wearing the khaki slacks and yellow shirt that we saw, a yellow jacket that we saw in the Cure for the Common show. Jim Ross says this could be a PJ Carissimo situation, and I had to Google what the hell he was on about, and it's actually an American basketball coach that was attacked by one of his players in 1997. So I wonder if that was what people were calling Brett at the time, and now they're just translating that onto onto Owen. Sorry. Vince says, "Look, Owen, I've spotted you around somewhere in the building. I know you can hear my voice. You've been endangering our fans, coming in and attacking people from the crowd. It's the same stance as what he's taking with Austin in the car." And he says, "I don't give a damn what you want to do with Shawn Michaels, but your behavior around our fans will not be tolerated. And I'm ordering you to appear in the ring right now." He's kind of, Vince is a bit of a dick here again, isn't he? Owen comes through the crowd. He's got the slick back hair. He's got his glasses. He's got his beard. He's got his black jeans. He's got his black sleeveless top. He's the Calgary Rattlesnake, I suppose. I don't know.
He's trying.
Is it? There's
it's
no
like Hogan in it. It's FUNB Hogan in it, when he's like pretending to Stone Cold Terry Bollea in it. Same outfit in it, same black chop, cut off sleeves. He just needs to wear bandana, some sunglasses. Perfect.
I thought Nugget was going to be the cruelest thing we'd say about Owen Hart in this podcast.
Oh, I've got more, don't worry. I'll wait.
FUDX on the spray paint. Oh, man. So Vince says, "Come on, Owen, what's going on? Who do you think you are?" And Owen loses it. He goes, "Who do you think I am? Who the hell do you think you are? I don't owe you a goddamn apology. I don't owe you a goddamn thing. I'm sick and tired of trying to please everybody, and the bullshit ends here." That gets a pop. Owen says, "My brother Brett, Jim Neidhart, British Bulldog, they did what they had to do. And what I have to do is remain right here in the WWF. I spent 9 years breaking my back here, and nobody is going to run me out of this company. Like, Vince realizes that he's talking about Shawn Michaels, and he says, is that what it's really about? Like the one title that Shawn Michaels has that's eluded you? And Owen just scowls at him. How stupid are you? You think I give a damn about a piece of leather with tin on it? This is real life, my reputation, my dignity. I'm not asking you, I am telling you. I'm going to make Shawn Michaels' life a living hell. You can call me the sole survivor, the black sheep. I really don't give a shit. Shawn, this is not a game. This is real life. You started it, and now it's time for this little nugget to end it. At this point, Vince calls out these uniformed security guard, they're like a bunch of police, basically. Vince says, well, like, you want to be a WWF superstar again? If you're going to stay here, you're going to compete like one. And Vince like has his hands behind his back. There's a second where it looks like Owen's like going to knock him out, basically. But he instead just like grabs him by the shirt collar. We can't hear exactly what's said down the microphone. And Vince, to be honest, like as Owen gets like carted off by the police, Vince kind of heckles him. He seems a bit like pissed off that like Owen's one of the many problems he's got on his to-do list now. But Owen is yet somebody else that's calling out Shawn Michaels. Shawn continues to be the pariah of the World Wrestling Federation.
I mean, maybe we do this here. Can we go back to the poker game instead? Like, I was enjoying that more. I was enjoying the way Shawn fucking uses the bottle out of nowhere as a prop. That, like you say, the way they set up the table, great stuff. And then Owen Hart turns up, and I feel the same way. Yeah, like, this isn't working, is it? Like, I think the dare sheets are wrong. Power Slam was wrong. The internet discourse at the time was wrong. Like, it's one of those unfortunate situations where the real life circumstances have dictated this is the only way you can bring Owen Hart back. If you're not going to let him leave and go to WCW and you're going to bring him back, of course he's got to be mad at Shawn and Hunter. Of course he's got to be a more serious character. But God bless him, man. He's got so many talents, Owen, but this isn't one of them. Being, like you say, budget Steve Austin, like growing out his fucking facial hair like I can talk today. I need to go to the barbers tomorrow. But you know what I mean? Dressing in his best grown-up clothes, be it all of it. It's just not Owen Hart, is he? Cheeky grin, like heel who makes you laugh and is very entertaining and has great matches. That's Owen Hart, isn't it? Like, this is not him in any way. And it's so like undercard. It feels like something that had happened on WCW telly. Like they just like Ray Traylor would come out and go, I'm not Big Bubba anymore. I'm Ray Traylor. I'm not Michael Wall Street anymore. I haven't got a name. I'm not in the NWO. Like those types of characters. Like it's just stripped down, but strips away all the things that are good about Owen Hart. And like it's horrible to say because like we haven't got much longer left with Owen Hart, and I am a fan of Owen Hart, and there is some okay stuff to come with him, but like right away I'm just like, yeah, Shawn's right. There's no main event program here. There isn't. It doesn't exist. Like I say, I'd rather watch the strip poker game go on longer. I'd rather see them beat up Mosh and Thrasher a little bit more than see Owen Hart turn up for the save or see him cut this promo. Like it's just, it's not happening for me.
It's tricky, isn't it? Because we know that Shawn could well think that about Steve Austin. When Steve Austin is clearly a main event. It's like Shawn is in the mood where he might not want to put anybody over. But he's right about Owen Hart. To that point, on the very same episode of Raw, the 15th December, it's why I included this here. They've got the match between the New Age Outlaws and the D-Generation X and the Legion of Doom in the Raw main event. And like Shawn and Triple H don't look like remotely rattled by Owen Hart apparently putting them on notice today. It's not like they stop everything. Oh, Owen's gonna get us, They're just out there having a ball against the Road Warriors. It's a Raw match, and here come the Outlaws. It goes to a DQ. The Outlaws jump Hawk with something on the floor. It's a chloroform-soaked rag. This is like you can kind of spot the clues of the old guard versus the new guard. Animal is still beating up DX 2-on-1 here. Like he's got Triple H and Shawn's number until wham, China with the low blow in the balls and then smashes him in the head with one of Shawn's belts. Hawk is knocked all the way out as a result of the chloroform. And then all of a sudden, Billy Gunn starts shaving one of Hawk's two mohawks. Shawn in particular is really impressed with this. Jim Ross and Jim Cornette are on the call here, I should say, and they're brilliant for putting over how historic it is because they're like very credible voices that have seen the Legion of Doom at the best, and like they're heartbroken that LOD are being destroyed like this. All four of the heels do a massive powerbomb on Animal through the announce table while Hawk is knocked out in the ring with the haircut. The Outlaws are celebrating. Shawn and Hunter are doing crotch chops. This is effectively being presented as if you're watching these two men being murdered in front of your very eyes. Heavy, heavy heat. The four cunts all get together and just decide who should beat Hawk up the most. Billy hits a leg drop from the top. Hawk is now like spitting up. He's like frothing at the mouth. Sean hits the Randy Savage elbow, but it's better than Savage, as Jim Ross tells us every month. DX basically want the credit for the beatdown, but for the first time since this act launched, they're kind of giving attaboy to the Outlaws. They've never respected anybody, and they still shoo them out the ring. Go on, get gone. But they're like, Sean's on the rope going, not bad. And the Outlaws scuttle away like the little bastards they are, doing the little dance. Like, you've got the same glint in your eye I did watching this. Like, the heat hit me like a ton of bricks when I was a kid. I was like, I watched like a crime scene here, but like, it's fucking good, isn't it? It is good.
It's like, are you allowed to do this to the Road Warriors? Are you allowed to do this to Well? It feels forbidden. It feels so far. Yes. But like, same joy. Like, I distinctly remember watching this, and obviously I loved DX, and I'd started to love the New Age Outlaws, and it was just like, you know, when you're a kid and like your older cousin kind of goes, you're all right, you know what I mean? It's the endorsement of like, you know, or somebody who's like a year above in school who's like the cool one. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? It feels like, New Age Outlaws, like you said, that trajectory of where they've come from to where they are, and now even DX, like, they're all right, and now like they call it today shipping, don't they? Like, I'm watching it going, all right, they need to form a supergroup. This is obvious. This needs to be an entire gang. They need to be DX. I'll have to wait a while for that to come. Probably have to wait for Sean to get out the fucking way for that to come properly. But like, the pieces and the chemistry are so there. Like, this was like my two favorite babyface teams coming together when I was a kid, despite the fact they were heels, and I still feel that emotion now. Like, again, it's just that you're almost proud of Road Dogg and Billy Gunn for getting to this point, aren't you? And it's just the four dickheads together. Absolutely love it, and so shocking that LOD were up for it. Hawk, that's the most selling he ever did in his life. Frothing at the mouth, like, how did they convince them to do this? Because it's not just a beatdown to set up a match. It is in a way, but really what it is, it's a complete changing of the guard now. It's a complete out with the old, in with the new. They don't realize it. They're literally being murdered on television, and usually they've got the words about them to know that is what's happening. But it's such a big change of like the world that we're going into versus the world we were in before. And God, I couldn't have lapped it up anymore.
Yeah, Sean's 100% done the same thing we did with Davey, didn't he? He says, I'm going to kick your ass in Birmingham, but wait till we get to Manchester and you get your revenge. They've obviously told LOD, wait till you guys get your rematch. And then it's going, no, fuck that. Like, they were not doing that. Like,
it's incredible.
So it's this despite Owen and despite The Undertaker and everything else, it's basically this DX reign of terror is what they're trying to get across at this point. To that point, it's the Christmas Raw from the Lowell a week later, one of the most aesthetically memorable Raws from this period of time. Earlier in the night, DX have got their asses out in the dressing gowns and all that to say Merry Xmas, and Slaughter is absolutely sick of this shit, his old SGT, and he says, right, you're going to have a match tonight for the European title. Like, he's finally figured out how to get them to split up and separate, and across the night it's brilliant. You see Sean and Triple H at separate points, both trying to suck up to China. When they come out to the ring, they're in their entrance jackets, but they're both wearing China t-shirts, which I love. Sean's in his like it's typical entrance gear, but over the top of a t-shirt. It looks so weird, but like they've figured all the little details out. Yeah. He's got his cap on, and you, like, everyone knows where this is going. They test the ropes, they stretch, they stall, they get advice from China. They finally go to lock up, and from the lockup, Sean takes one of the best light switch bumps he's taken all year. Triple H comically runs the ropes, and he goes like a specific amount of time because he wants the fans to pick up. Like, they don't get it straight away, do they? So this is where this is different from the finger poke of doom. Like, he runs and runs and runs until the audience realize, you cunts. Like, and then they start booing. Like, this gets this gets the heat it's supposed to get for these arseholes. So he's running. He hits a splash that, like, his body doesn't actually connect with Sean's as his hands hit the mat. 1, 2, 3. Triple H is the new European champion. Sean's in tears. Jim Cornette says Sean cries every time he comes to this town because it's where he lost his smile, obviously. He does this ridiculous, like, Mauro Ranallo style pre-written, it's a sham, a flim-flam, a corner, he's got all these things listed out because he wants to get his little bit in, doesn't he? Sean takes the mic and he cries, and like to an irritating extent, like he takes ages to get his point out. He's saying it's not easy being defeated for the coveted European title. Cornette at this point is furious that the sport is being made a mockery out of. Sean says, I've been in a lot of different matches, but I've never been in anything as emotionally and physically draining as this one. Jim Ross says, "Oh, he looks like he's lost his smile again." Triple H gets this quite funny line, and he says, he's crying as well. He says, "Other than being my kid being born, well, I don't have one, not that I know of. This is the greatest moment of my life." Slaughter's come into the aisle at this point, like with a sort of his chin out as usual, and Triple H spots him and goes, "Yo, Sarge, I did it." Shawn goes to the ropes and does the best suck it ever. He's just like, "Fucking suck it, Slaughter, we got you again." Like they said, they made an ass out of Sergeant Slaughter once again. Triple H laughs with this like infuriating scream, and then off mic, what DX don't hear is that Slaughter booking Triple H to defend the title against Owen Hart next week on Raw. I mean, this is one of those iconic like first run DX segments, isn't it?
Massively, and obviously NWO would copy their homework, which like it's funny. I almost hold like the two like thoughts in my head at the same time. That like I thought this was again. I mean, there's podcasts out there, Michael. I'll tell you that Shawn Michaels wasn't cool at any point. I thought this was cool as fuck. I thought it was hilarious. I didn't even consider that. I was genuinely worried. I was like, "Oh no, DX is going to wrestle each other. Oh no, what's going to happen? I don't want to see my best mates wrestle each other here, only for them to pull the wool over everyone's eyes." Like literally, I'd be rolled on the floor laughing when I was a kid watching this. However, also hold the view that when the NWO did it, it was business killing and almost killed WCW. I guess both things can be true because one was for the WCW World title and the other one's for the coveted, as Sean says, European title. It makes a difference, but it's all of it. It's the way they do it. It's the way like the post match, the celebration of it all, every bit of it. Like I still think this is great. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Finn Martin buried it at the time. I distinctly remember that. I think everybody buried it at the time as well, but I thought it was an entertaining pro wrestling segment, so sue me, mate, and it gets the European title to where it belongs on a mid-carder like Paul Levesque, so everybody wins, you know, and he did a good, the splash was great, so maybe he deserved it. I enjoyed that. I laughed. Everything about it. Brilliant.
No, I totally agree. That was my cup of tea. And the thing is, we're going to go to the next week's segment now, the 29th of December, because this brings all these disparate parts together. We've had DX, we've had Owen Hart, we've had The Undertaker, we've had the European title, but we're not going to have a European title match with Owen Hart because Triple H is on crutches. This is the live Raw the following week, and he's injured himself at a house show the night before as a shoot. He's dislocated his kneecap. He says Owen Hart's going to have to wait for his title shot. But in the meantime, he decides to mock The Undertaker, and he says, Shawn isn't here tonight. He's at home with the flu, so The Undertaker's going to have to wait until Shawn Michaels is back. All of a sudden, The Undertaker's music hits, and some druids are bringing a casket down to the ring. Triple H, you can hear on the microphone, is saying, "Oh, I see. I get it, dead man. You're going to come for me while I've got an injury, are you? Well, I guess what we're going to have to do is," and then he gives the cue, "break it down." And all of a sudden, the druids pull a sheet off the casket. It's graffitied in DX gear. Shawn's in there. The music hits. It's a DX, another Swizz, another con. And Shawn Michaels is just absolutely buzzing with himself that he's fooled everybody. It's another great iconic pose. Shawn is in the tight t-shirt. He's got the world title. The three of them do their pose, even Triple H with the crutches. It's one of them like DX visuals, you remember. Yeah. Shawn starts the promo by putting over the fact that he's got a new missus in Venice, California. So that's why he's not going to come out of the ring with any, his word, skanks. And he says, and this was like, to your point about the Outlaws, and he says, "Anyway, I got some big business to attend. I am here to introduce the two newest members of the Generation X." And young Benno and Hamflett kind of like meerkats are like looking for Billy and Road Dog. Dog and gun, as you might call a rough pub. And he's looking around. And then he says, "And cameraman, they're right here." And he pulls the camera right down onto Chyna's boob job. The story was at the time that they were specifically told not to talk about that on camera. So, of course, Shawn did the literal opposite, basically, including when he enters for his match later on, where he tells the camera to just film Chyna's chest rather than himself. He's having a lot of fun with this. He says she's the breast stand woman in town. Triple H cuts in and says if Chyna had a nipple for any time she was called the breast woman in wrestling, they said it should be called Double D Generation X. He puts his face next to them and looks down the lens and goes, "Hi, Mom," like that. It's their world and everybody else is just living in it, I guess. He says when Triple H is healthy, he's going to rid WWF of that tiny nugget, Owen Hart. And at the Royal Rumble, The Undertaker is going to get your third and final shot at the Heartbreak Kid, and you're going to lose again. Shawn says 1998 will be the year of the Generation X, and absolutely nobody will crash their party. I mean, he was right. It's just a shame he wasn't at the party. SGT's here again. Shawn says, "What do you want, you horny old man?" Triple H calls him fat. They poke his belly. Slaughter says, "Right, fair enough. Hunter, you can't defend your title, but you can, Shawn. and Sean's got to defend the belt against Owen Hart in the main event of this show. Before we get to that, same Raw. Kane's victims from the last few weeks have all decided to cobble together to try and defeat Kane one-on-one. Oh, a bunch of total losers. It's the DOA, Flash Funk, Scott Taylor, the Headbangers. But, there's 7 of them. Jesus. So maybe they've got a chance against Kane. Out comes Kane. There's the pyro, the whole deal. The baby faces have gathered. They're not scared, but why would they be? Because he is the Undertaker. Jim Ross notes and says, it was bad before with 7, but it's 8, and one of those is the Undertaker. And they make it quite clear that the Taker's the difference in all of this current setup for Kane. All the mid-carders are finally buzzing that the Undertaker's here, and they're like, yeah, get him. You go first, Undertaker. You get him, dead man. But he helps Kane. The brothers clear the ring together. Paul Bearer looks shocked and a bit distressed by it. The fans pop huge for the brothers beating up these loser mid-carders that you don't need to care about. Undertaker leaves. The announcers are confused. Taker looks back towards Kane and he promises down the lens, write this down, fans. He says, I will never fight you, Kane. I will burn in hell before I fight you. So that's, never going to matter, is it? And as noted before, the 29th of January Raw ends with the Shawn Michaels and Owen Hart match that again goes to a disqualification, as is increasingly becoming common now. When Owen's got the sharpshooter on Shawn, Triple H breaks a crutch over his head. They batter him. Raw goes off the air with Triple H just destroying him. And that is basically the end of Owen Hart's threat to Shawn Michaels. He has now been dropped right down to Triple H's level in the European title. This one match with DQ finish, before we've even hit 1998, by the way, is the end of Owen's run at Shawn Michaels.
I mean, some would argue he never left that orbit of being at that point in the card, but hey-ho. Poor Owen. Yeah, it's funny, the Undertaker Kane segment you mentioned there as well. It's I think maybe because we then get 30 years of it, but I was watching it going, that's Kane, Undertaker's help. Have you seen the geeks that are in the ring? It feels a bit you probably need at least more, needed the whole Raw roster versus John Cena, that type of stuff to make that believable. But no, good. And obviously the follow-up we're going to get into in a minute was good stuff as well. And yeah, this is, I'm surprised Shawn even let Owen put him in the sharpshooter. That's as much as he does to get him over in this run. But just looking at Owen, looking at how he's presented, looking what he looks like, his gear, everything about him, it does scream mid-card feud with Triple H to save us from having to see any more Triple H versus Sarge matches. And I can't argue it at this point. And I feel 10 years ago I might have said something different.
Yeah, it's I'm with you at this point. We have tried to review this as honestly as possible, and none of the pieces feel out of place, do they? Really, you can't criticize it. Speaking of which, we start the 5th of January Raw with a very dishevelled Paul Bearer entering the ring to the Undertaker's original theme music. By the way, he's not got the usual sort of Paul Bearer look to him. He's all hairs everywhere. He looks a mess, basically.
He's so committed, isn't he? I bet he just didn't sleep the night before. I've missed this. I've missed Theatre Kids, William Moody on these housekeepers. He's fucking so dedicated. It's amazing.
He's so good yet again here. As he Bag's eyes hanging so low, they practically go below the ring themselves. He looks fucked. He's furious. He's dead man, I hope Shawn Michaels destroys you at the Royal Rumble. I'm cursing the ground that you're walking on. Jim Ross references rumors that Bearer and Kane aren't on good terms anymore. He says he hates the Undertaker's guts, and it's because of you that I've lost Kane. There's a massive pop for this reveal. Your actions, dead man. You poisoned his mind. Kane's left me. I've searched everywhere for him and I can't find him. Paul Bearer, down the lens, begs Kane to come home. He's crying. He's inconsolable, and he leaves the ring in pieces. Next week on Raw, D-Generation X are out. Shawn's in a leather jacket and black gloves, which kind of feels a bit like a rib to Hollywood Hogan, doesn't it? He's wearing the weightlifting belt that says Heartbreak Kid on it, and I think he's just decided.
I think that's that. I was looking at him going has he just bought some new gloves and thought I'll try them out on for it looks weird. He needs colour, doesn't he? He just needs a little bit of even a splash of green. Didn't catch the belt.
He's got a Heartbreak Kid weight belt, so I think he's just saying, I'm Hogan now. I fucking did it. Fuck you, Hulk, or something like that. I think that's the deal here. Triple H calls Owen Hart the last remnant of something that used to be. Not the Hart Foundation, just the dump I was trying to take earlier in the night. You're still a nugget. They've beat Owen Hart up backstage.
People were saying that in my school, mate, for at least 10 years after this. It's stuck.
Over is over, mate. And then Triple H also mentions that because they're at a college campus, he's happy to shag any of the sorority girls. That's a big part of Triple H's character. Obviously, he's the best sex haver. Shawn Michaels gets down to more important business, and it's obviously following.
Not Owen Hart.
Now, yes, very much not Owen Hart. This is pre-Rumble, but it's post the big announcement. So he says, Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. Triple H just gets a dig in at Mike Tyson's voice. And Shawn Michaels says, you might be a good boxer, but if you get in my way at the Royal Rumble, I'll dance all over your face. And he moves on to Kane. But before he can speak about Kane, they get interrupted by Owen Hart, who's all bloodied up from the beating he's taken backstage. He just looks like he's got burger ketchup on his face, doesn't he, really? Looks like he's a messy eater. Triple H says, look, if you're so brave, why don't you come out and say that? Owen comes out, crutch in hand, and calls them gutless bastards. So that brings the segment to a stop, and we have to pick it back up on Raw later on. Stay tuned for more DX. That's the point. Shawn had an announcement about Kane. You need to hear what Shawn wants to say. So Michael Cole's in the ring with him now. I mentioned that because Triple H is giving him a wet willy and Shawn's slapping him in the face with his hair, which is another classic DX Michael Cole moment. Shawn Michaels notes that Kane and Paul Bearer have split. Everybody's heard about it, and everybody knows that Kane is all alone. But he reveals that DX would happily be the family that Kane never had. And I want to welcome the newest member of Degeneration X, Kane. The lights go out. People think, what's going on here? But it's the Undertaker's music. He comes down to the ring. He does the lightning bolts for the lights switching back on. DX absolutely shit themselves. Undertaker tells Shawn Michaels to keep his family out of it, and Shawn pulls the face that we all know from Botchamania, where he's like backing up in the leather jacket away from the Undertaker. Undertaker goes to chokeslam Shawn, so the three of them all deck him, hit him with the crutch, and there is a massive "We Want Kane" chant. The fans have figured out what's going on here. The lights go off, Kane's music and the red lights hit, and the pop for Kane is enormous. Here he comes. The announcers don't know whose side he's going to be on. And then Kane goes for Shawn Michaels. He chases off Triple H. He's actually come to help his brother. He gives a chase to DX all the way up the ramp. This is absolutely amazing. The Undertaker recovers in the ring and then looks up, realizes that Kane has been a want to help. He looks at Kane. Kane drops to one knee on the ramp, does the Undertaker pose. The Undertaker does it back to him. I'm getting the goosebumps over these two, probably for the last time. Jim Ross goes, oh, what a moment. And the Kane's music plays as the Undertaker smiles. It's the Royal Rumble this Sunday, and Shawn Michaels is fucked.
And it's like one of those, and if this happens in halfway through season one in a series that you're watching, like, you want it to be real, you want it to be the happy end, but it just can't be, can it? It's wrestling. Yeah. There's always another week, and there's a fucking pay-per-view coming up that's going to ruin it, but you're right, I feel nothing for these two characters, especially going forward. But even my fucking cold heart, that's a nice moment, isn't it? Isn't that cool? Like, the pop is in, isn't it? People are invested in this whole story, even if obviously, it's going somewhere else, but it is good.
They've absolutely done the work. And yes, as The Undertaker said, this is nice that they've come together, because as The Undertaker said, he would burn in hell before he would fight Kane. And so it would come to pass, because at the Royal Rumble, Shawn Michaels defeats The Undertaker, Kane locks him in a casket and sets him on fire and kills him, and we never see the dead man again. It was a fucking plan. They got us. It was a ruse, and The Undertaker's done for. And who's going to show off more about that but Shawn Michaels? We go to the 19th of January Raw. I want to say, first of all, the footage that we're watching that I believe we put in the playlist for this. There's a Sky Sports 1 logo from 97, 1998 that already had me in tears on this particular section of the footage. But in something of a shock, DX have pledged to find The Undertaker, and despite what's happened the night before, it's a dead man, right? He's like impervious to real pain, and he floats down to the ring, and the commentators and the fans are like, to be honest, just thank God The Undertaker's okay after what we saw last night with that casket on fire, the coat on, everything. And then the lights come on, and it's fucking Shawn Michaels. The DX music hits. He's got a black hair wig on that he just throws away. He's dancing. He's taking off The Undertaker's jacket. He's got the little straps on that lower you safely to the ring, and he's taking that off as he's dancing. This is so great. Like a proper fuck you. He's fooled everyone in the audience, grin on his face. And then it just cuts to the aisle where Triple H is walking down to the ring with a portable barbecue, an apron that says "Suck the Cook," and a bag full of sausages. It's like, as part of just they're not backing down, they're doubling down. Like, what a troll job this was.
And on top of it, you say, like, you know, the hook here was, oh, Undertaker's alive and he's fine. No, it's actually Shawn Michaels. And also, Shawn Michaels is alive and he's fine. Because to me, Michael, his back looks all right, you know. Like, considering this is the night after the Royal Rumble, dancing around a bit and he's quite happy and he's quite comfortable, ready to have a laugh.
What's mad, right? I've got this in my notes. The story, I was listening to Sean speaking about this period of time recently. He was, they did this Raw, and then I think they taped the following week. So he works the Rumble, he works TV, and then it gets to Wednesday and he goes home. And I think it's the morning he wakes up on either the Wednesday or the Thursday. He can't move. He can't move his back. So he's done 2 nights, probably, you know, looking after his body with whatever substances he was taking at the time. And he goes home and he has to call an ambulance because he can't get off the floor. So it's mad that at this point, even now, he's looking and he's like, oh, Shawn doesn't know. Like, you're watching these segments at the last point at which Shawn Michaels does not realize. And, well, all the better for this segment, which you think is just a barbecue, but Jesus Christ, what a piece of business this is. So first of all, DX have some fun at Taker's expense. How do you like your dead man? Do you like him rare, medium, or well done? Shawn, again, like last time, takes all the credit for beating The Undertaker, doesn't let anybody else get a word in. Triple H cuts in briefly to call Owen Hart the Mr. Hanky of the WWF, asked if he'd enjoyed his Royal Stumble, because God forbid you let anyone forget Owen Hart slipped over. While Triple H is doing this, Michaels has made a little dick and balls with some marshmallows and a sausage, and it pops Triple H. That's pretty good. He challenges Owen to a match next week, one-on-one. Man to boy. Man, ginormous sausage, to boy, little weenie. The European title is going to be on the line next week. We don't recap that, but Triple H still isn't fully fit. He sends in the artist formerly known as Goldust dressed as Triple H. Owen beats Goldust, and SGT Slaughter says, that actually counts. Owen's the European champion. So Triple H doesn't even do the job for this meaningless belt.
Honestly.
We go back to the mention of the California girls from Triple H. She says, look, there's no need to ride Space Mountain. It's old, broken down, and bleach blonde. I've got the rocket if you want the ride. Imagine shooting on Ric Flair, Triple H, in 1998. Shawn loves all that. He's beaten Taker all alone by himself. He's still the icon, the showstopper, still the main event, and still the champion. Big heat for that. Anyway, time to go to the list. Who's next in line? And Jim Ross is like, figure it out, Einstein. What about the Royal Rumble? Shawn leaves this epic pregnant pause just for the last person in the back row to catch up. So, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Holy shit, Shawn Michaels has just said Steve Austin's name. It's go time. Shawn says, you've done the tag team titles. Been there, done that, Stone Cold. You've been the IC champion. Been there, done that, Stone Cold. Seems there's only one more mountain for you to climb. Unfortunately, I'm at the top of the mountain, and I'm not just at the top of the mountain. I own the mountain because the Heartbreak Kid says so, son. Shawn mentions, Steve, you got quite a winning streak going. But what do you ask around in the World Wrestling Federation? Ask around all your friends. Ask around the wrestlers I sent down south, and they'll all tell you what I'm about to tell you. The Heartbreak Kid lays down for absolutely nobody. The DX music hits. They chuck the barbecue stuff into the crowd. Do not be fooled by the bullshit with the sausages and with the Undertaker and everything. This was like a money promo from Shawn Michaels. Not necessarily about the match and what him and Austin could feud over, but just tapping in to what we all are starting to realize. Fucking Shawn Michaels doesn't do jobs, and he fucking needs to lay down for Steve Austin. And they have isolated the panic of this story, haven't they? Austin is indestructible, or is he? Because he's not got to win a wrestling match. He's got to beat a master politician.
Yeah, when we get there are little looks in Austin's face when Shawn says lines like that, where he's probably thinking in real life, fucking better. And Undertaker's like taping his fist behind the door somewhere to make sure that happens. But again, we will get there eventually. But no, like it's great stuff. And like I remembered obviously the stupid stuff with the sausages and the chef hats and all of the funny stuff with DX and all of that. But like you say, Shawn Michaels staring down the camera. And even, like you say, they've been a tag team before, but it also felt like that was 12 billion years ago. And like, no, it's real now. The WrestleMania match that we're building to now. Austin's won the Rumble. Shawn Michaels is still world champion. Fuck, it's obvious, isn't it? Steve Austin's going to have to beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. I remember that clicking with me at the time. And it's just like, yeah. It's funny because it's, as we're going to get into, and we'll talk it on the next Housekeeping after No Way Out. It's almost like the least important part of it. Shawn Michaels versus Steve Austin, because there's Tyson and all the other stuff going on around it. But it's still, for at least for me and you and for the people paying attention, just massive that like this is the biggest match they can put on, and it's really going to be happening now.
That's it. And to that point, you mentioned about Mike Tyson. The following Raw is obviously the follow-up to this most incredible of scenes between Tyson and Austin, and it takes a very political bent as a result. And it opens with another famous DX cold open. I found the uncensored version that appeared on the Triple
I'd never
H
seen that
VHS.
before.
Years later, it was on the Our Time Triple H in China Coliseum video. So I thought I'd include that one. It's for those that don't remember, it's on the start of Raw, so it's at 9 p.m. But the gag is that DX are revealing the swear words that they will only say after 10, but they're giving them all away at like 9 on the dot. So that's it. So they're doing all the funny bits. They'll only use the words ass, damn, hell, and bitch. They'll never use the word shit, fuck, goddamn, Jesus Christ. There's a couple of slurs in here. No sexual swear words, no racial slurs. And then he throws back to Shawn, who obviously this is very topical at the time, gets down the lens and says, I did not sleep with that woman. She was up all night. And
he loves that. He's so happy with himself.
He's buzzing, isn't he? And it leads into the two of them coming out on Raw, balloons, their best Uncle Sam gear, like they're political campaigners for the night. And they are basically holding banners that say Tyson versus Austin. Uncle Sam wants Tyson and Austin. The almighty dollar equals Tyson and Austin. Jim Ross notes, and they're right about that, because Jim Ross notes that WrestleMania is sold out in 2 minutes. The WWF are flexing everything at this point. I mean, they're only running the arena in Boston, what's now the TD Garden, the former Fleet Center that I was able to visit on my travels over this year.
Is that what it is, TD?
Pay great respect to the building. But like they've sold it out nonetheless. Of course they have. Look at this. And basically already the idea is Shawn Michaels is trying to get out of the fight, isn't he? Let them fight. And the fans love this because of course they want to see Austin and Tyson fight. They're willing to go along with this. And Austin's not having this bullshit. He walks to the glass smashes, massive pop, interrupts, and he walks to the ring through the balloons, shows no fear of DX, who have instantly taken off like the bullshit Uncle Sam gear. Again, they're always very mindful that they want segments to look and feel different. Like it all counts to the video packages, doesn't it? Shawn knows there's a face-off coming with Austin, and he doesn't want to be dressed in the Uncle Sam gear when it comes to that beauty shot of the two of them. So it's serious, kind of click of a finger. Austin.
Although I would say, could they got together and decided, like, let's both wear the same DX shirt? Like, did you spot that? Triple H has got, like, the weird red X one. I didn't even remember that. And Shawn's got I can't remember Shawn wearing the what would become the proper DX t-shirt when the proper 1998 four-man DX is a thing.
It's very them two trying to be as cool as Hall, Nash, and Six, isn't it? Because those three never wear the same shirt. That's true. Always have, like that's them two trying to like get as many units shifted as possible. It was always that click rule where you always wore your mate's t-shirt rather than yours and stuff like that, didn't you? That red DX one, proper collector's item, that one.
All right.
No fear, brilliant this. He gets right in Michael's face. Michaels predictably gets right back in Steve Austin. Of course, he's not going to be talked down to by Austin, no matter how over he is. Austin says, I'm going to beat the crap out of Mike Tyson, but I know what your game is here. I won the Royal Rumble. Fuck Mike Tyson at WrestleMania. I'm focused on you. I'm focused on the WWF Championship. Shawn Michaels takes his shirt off. Austin says, you can take your shirt off and bow up all you want. That belt is coming with Stone Cold when we fight. Shawn is just trying to remain emotionless. He's trying to remain brave and strong and all of that. He's scowling. Austin rips off his own shirt. There's another little square off between the two, and Austin leaves. Not, it should be noted, in fear, just in total defiance of this lot. He flips off China as well. Shawn Michaels hold the belt up. Like, DX are all serious facing this. No bullshit. This is like, again, like we talked about how they have put over people when they've been having to have these feuds and that. They basically have one segment to Neidhart, Shamrock, and SGT Slaughter. Here, the faces tell the story. They understand that this is where the money gets made, and there's been a dickhead, but then there's like kind of like spoiling what we're supposed to be here for. We're spoiling the money making, and they don't do that.
Yeah, and it's WrestleMania, and Mike Tyson's involved. You know, we want a little bit of that too. Like it's all a play.
One segment later, Benno, Cactus Jack Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Oh yeah, Terry Funk came out of a box with a chainsaw. Are having a match on Raw because they just love fighting each other so much, and they thought, let's have a fight. They have a brawl on Raw, and it ends with the two of them fighting up on the Titantron near a dumpster that had been full of weapons for the match. Where Cactus throws Terry Funk into the dumpster, climbs the Titantron, hits that big Mick Foley elbow into the dumpster, and the two of them are out cold. And who appears on the stage? Just the two men that have been feuding with Mick Foley for quite a while. That's triggered the return of Terry Funk, the new Age Outlaws. They take a look at the situation, they close the lid, and they push the dumpster off the stage. This brings Raw to a complete and total standstill. Half an hour, maybe more, of the first hour of Raw dedicated to this. A ton of superstars and referees rush out. The dumpster has landed sideways on the concrete floor. There's people in there, as Jim Ross says on the call. The fans are screaming. The referees look in total shock. You can hear Sunny out there crying. Like, you can constantly hear her, like, upset, like, particularly worried about, like, Terry Funk. Wrestlers are saying, come on, we need to get an ambulance. We need to get an ambulance. The show has stopped. Jim Ross says, I'm sorry, fans, I've never seen anything like this before. Mick Foley and Terry Funk are in there. Those two men have got families. But the way they've gone off this stage, we don't know what condition they're in. You get a repeat of the dumpster from the point of view of, like, below the stage, so you can see the dumpster crashes through a couple of tables. Does that break and inanimate objects fall? I'm not really sure. But it looks incredible anyway. It's a really impressive and dangerous looking visual. They're selling the fuck out the impact of it as well. This is, like, don't think this is a waste of TV time. This is TV time well used. That, like, the announcers are even using phrases like, a lot of the boys, a lot of the superstars look up to these two wrestlers, just giving you that idea that, like, something, it's the Vince Russo of it all, something. The rest of you watching is bullshit, but this is real.
Yeah, heels and baby faces alike are out there,
Yeah, they're back from a commercial break, and Jim Ross is, like, interviewing them backstage through a headset, and he says, what's going on, boys? Are you that desperate to get over? And Road Dogg, like, and Billy Gunn, they look like they're trying to fight through the pain, but they realize they've gone too far. And they say, well, like, it's hard to get over. You should know that, Jim. They've got families, but so do we. And then just when it looks like they might show a bit of contrition for it, Shawn and Hunter walk into shot. Shawn Michaels is fucking brilliant here. He just gets in the Outlaws' face and he says, every week we're asked to go out there, outdo ourselves, get ratings. He slaps the Road Dogg to pull his chin up and he says, where does it end, eh? Ask Jim Ross where it ends. Ask Vince McMahon where it ends. Triple H cuts in and says, look, if it wasn't them, then it may as well have been us. Shawn says, push the envelope. Think about yourself. Suck it up. The show always goes on, doesn't it? He's basically telling them, don't be afraid of the heat. Be the biggest cunts you can be. It's the only way to be. And Raw's first hour, in the shock of that scene, ends with one more slow motion replay of the dumpster going off the side of the stage. The main event is a short match between Austin and the Road Dogg as he rocks up like the good guy saving the day that he is, beats the fuck out of these cunts for what they've done to Cactus and Funk earlier on. Not like because he wants to help them, just because he's the guy that kicks everybody's ass at this point. Beats the shit out of Billy, beats the shit out of Road Dogg. This is white hot. Road Dogg's getting mud hole stomped. Billy Gunn runs in. He gets a stunner, but because he's ran in, that's the DQ. DX hit the ring. They're there to help the Outlaws because the Outlaws have followed through and they've been every bit the bastards that they promised they would be. It's a 4-on-1 on Steve Austin. They're absolutely mugging him. He's in real trouble. The four of them tie Austin in the ropes. The commentators mention, hang on, there was an ambulance backstage before. DX must have got that ready for Steve Austin. They're going to injure him before WrestleMania. They tie Austin in the ropes and Michaels puts the Winged Eagle belt right in Austin's face. And he goes, this is it. This is it, Austin. This is it. This is as close as you were ever going to get. Like, Shawn's like spitting venom as he does this. Austin looks fuming, just desperate to fight. He'd eat their heads if he could reach in hard enough. And then just when you think there's no way back for Austin, it turns out the ambulance had Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie in it. They've come back from the hospital with the drips on the stretchers, the whole deal, the slings, the hospital gowns, all of that. They sort of chase off the Outlaws. Austin chases off DX. He comes back out. He's got a DX shirt that he tears down the hard camera and he calls them out as Raw goes off the air. Kind of only really two stories on this Raw, but, like, again, you're putting your equity in the things that matter and you're not really worrying about the rest.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, this one, because, like, my memory of it is, like, the emotional roller coaster of it. Like, it felt real in the moment. The way they sell it makes it different than anything else they do on Raw. Arguably, if they did this in 1999, like, they'd have spent 2 minutes on it and we'd have moved on to the next segment. Like, they give it that time to breathe that makes it feel real. And I remember being worked and just having that genuine concern to the point where, in my head, DX and New Age Outlaws are the goodies and I love them. And like me, like wanting to condemn the New Age Outlaws and almost being disappointed in Sean and Hunter that they're telling them that it's okay. And they're the two cunts on the roster who would say that, both in character and out of character. But of course, they're the ones who are going to be given that. And I almost remember, I know that wasn't the emotion I was supposed to feel, but feeling disappointed in them too. Oh no, they really are the baddies. They really are that disgusting. Although I will say, even though I felt all that, in real time at the end, I did find it daft when Terry Funk came out with the dressing gown on and Foley comes out with like the arm like in a sling. It felt a bit ha-ha for something that was so serious an hour before. It felt like Russo should have been stopped. Like, it almost felt like this has worked so well. And again, in 1999, they'd come out the ambulance like 3 minutes later. Like, they wouldn't have at least given it like the breathing room they give it here. But I think it undercuts it a bit. And I still felt that again, watching it back. It's a funny moment. It's a moment you remember. And it serves the greater story of setting up this No Way Out match. But yeah, it's a little bit light compared to how heavy and how affecting, like you mentioned, that, you know, Sonny crying and all of that stuff. Was it the other members of the roster condemning them, and all of it felt so real, and then that felt very hokey and wrestling, but entertaining in its own way, at least.
I think Mick Foley, I'm sure, like, he actually said that he didn't want to do that. He understood that it was necessary for the story, but he didn't want to do the running. He felt that you should at least save it a week. And it's funny, isn't it? Like, they pulled off a bit of an Attitude Era plaster there, because they basically decided do everything always, like never show restraint.
There's only 2 hours in a week.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and I think that's interesting, because you can see why they did it the way they did it, and it was obviously in service of what turned out to be a bit of it was a main event in name only, wasn't it? Really, for No Way Out. So you can see why they would have tried to put these men together. But yeah, I do agree. We're heading into No Way Out. This is all like, these numbers are coming together to build the main event of No Way Out, which is DX and the New Age Outlaws versus Steve Austin, the former main event, Owen Hart, and Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. But before that, we've got the WrestleMania press conference, which again is just putting over how big this Tyson stuff really is. It's the All-Star Cafe in Times Square in New York. Vince calls it an extravaganza. I should, just before we do, this is a fed recap of this press conference. When you read actual reviews of this press conference, it's basically all Tyson, all what you're doing, why you're hanging out with these weirdos. This is weird, Mike. What's going on? And then like Vince basically has to try and wedge Austin and Sean into proceedings. But to watch this video package, you think that the world had turned up to see like Austin and Michaels together for the first time. It's well edited. And why you're WWF? Why would you edit it any other way? But that's just for balance, you know. That's kind of how there's real and fake going on here. Austin's there in his 316 t-shirt. DX turn up in suits. Vince announces for the first time that Mike Tyson will be the enforcer, the outside guest referee for the main event between Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. Austin cuts a promo at the press, tells Shawn that he will take match more seriously than any he's taken ever before. Shawn Michaels repeats that he doesn't lay down for anybody. Mike Tyson says he's loving being involved in the WWF. He name checks all his old favorites again. Michaels actually cuts in on a question on Mike Tyson, saying, "You know, I could deck you." And Austin says, "Yeah, well, I could whip Mike Tyson's ass." And then Tyson calls Austin an uncouth imbecile. Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin start giving each other shit over the tables, and then they do a big worked pull apart brawl where Mike Tyson gets in the middle, so you get the photo opportunity now that it's all set for WrestleMania. Triple H getting his mug in the background, getting in as many pictures as he possibly can.
Stood up as high as he can.
Shawn calls Austin a fly-by night. It's worth noting there's a massive WWF logo in the background. They've thought about how they want all of this to look. Shane McMahon's there again, helping Vince, trying to keep the parties separate. And then on Raw, they clip in news footage. And it's funny because like all the clippings, including one that says it's got a Spanish language newspaper, and it says Trucomania, which I Googled, and truc means trick, gimmick. So they're basically calling it Trickomania, Gimmickomania. They're mocking Mike Tyson for getting involved. And then there's like news clippings where it says, I paused it and it says like, so it's come to this. So the reportings and the clippings are kind of mocking that Tyson's getting involved in silly bollocks wrestling. But to watch it in real time and just to watch it come through, you know, it's like those old spinning newspapers on TV shows. It's very effective bullshit, this, because you would think the World Wrestling Federation is the talk of the town.
Yeah. And like even like down to like the masterclass they've done in editing this, like you see Vince like answer a question. It takes like 13 seconds to answer the question. It's like, yeah, there was definitely like the question was very uncomfortable, and he was just getting it at the end. By the way, WrestleMania's coming up. Like they have had to like just pull all the. I'm sure there were. I think I read there were questions about Tyson's like criminal charges and how gross it was. Like WWE were bringing him in, all of that. But if you just watch the edited version, it's like, oh yeah, there's this big match coming up, and isn't Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin big stars? Sean's adding his name to like the list. I could beat up Mike Tyson too. It's not just you, Steve. Yeah. I can do it as well. Like all of it, like it works. But my God, you probably had to cut out at least an hour of the stuff that you wouldn't want people to see. Made for each other was one of the other headlines, wasn't it? The papers have, which again, it's just damning both of them, getting it going. Of course, this lot of day getting into bed together.
Aye, and yeah, this housekeeping was intended to give us the tee up to No Way Out in Your House, and to that end, we get one final segment of basically a DX coming out on the Go Home Raw on the 9th of February. They're in their red DX shirts together this time. It really isn't the New World Order in terms of branding. This one, is it? Earlier in the night, Steve Austin has stolen the WWF title in order to get Sean's attention. Sean does basically a pay-per-view Go Home promo saying how DX and the Outlaws are going to fight Austin, Owen, Cactus, and Chainsaw Charlie, but I want my belt back now, and I'm not going to wait until Sunday. Shawn Michaels promises an ass whooping at No Way Out. Get your ass out here, please, because Austin's asked him to be polite about it. Here comes Austin. He's got the belt. He swings at DX again, just like not scared of them at all, but it's a plan. The Outlaws come out from behind. Steve Austin is surrounded, but then all of a sudden, the sound of a chainsaw can be heard echoing throughout the building. Here comes Terry Funk. Here comes Mick Foley from under the ring where Chainsaw Charlie has chainsawed a hole. In the distraction of it all, China is able to grab the belt back, but at least the sides are nearly even until they're made all the way even by Owen Hart appearing, and we've got a pretty hot brawl between the two. DX bail, the Outlaws get a few shots from the baby faces. It's all finger pointing and posing between the two groups. JR does the hard sell, and then if you hit pause, you get the briefest shot of the four goodies in the ring together. Terry Funk, Mick Foley, Steve Austin, and Owen Hart all on the same side. If you think this pay-per-view main event is weird enough, believe me when we get to the review, and you all know why, it's going to get weirder. But what a forgotten snapshot this is of this build.
Madness. It is. It's crazy. And like on top of it, like loving the heel side, loving like the X together, loving, New Age Outlaws with them. All of that seems to fit. It's the rest of it, isn't it? And like, I think also, and again, we'll hit on it more when we get closer to Mania, but even the Austin like stealing the belt stuff, it feels a bit done, doesn't it? Like we've just done that with The Rock. Like it feels a little bit like this whole Shawn and Austin thing feels a bit like booking by committee, doesn't it? Where it's like there's that uneasiness about Shawn maybe not wanting to do the job and everything else going on, and also there's Tyson happening, which is the massive distraction. The Shawn and Austin bits aren't great and aren't that compelling, aren't they? It feels a little bit like, well, I guess we've got to do this because we've got to build interest in Shawn and Austin. But hopefully, I'll feel different post this pay-per-view. But definitely the weakest part of this overall package.
And like in its purest form, everybody's got to get their shit in, haven't they? Like Austin,
that's true. A lot of characters.
Austin vitally had to protect his character. Vince probably at long last was like, he is the guy. He is the guy. But Shawn Michaels is still Shawn Michaels. It's still the same guy.
He's a build-up mess.
For 3 years.
You can see it at that presser. He's got that look on his eyes, hasn't he? He's unshaven. Yeah. It's in the back of. Just doesn't look great.
I can't, like those TV conversations can't be the easiest and smoothest, can they? No. You can imagine like little Billy and Road Dogg just sort of clinging on for dear life. But
and then we do what?
Hunter, Paul, like after WrestleMania, should we have a chat? And Paul's like, yeah, after WrestleMania, boys, after WrestleMania, like, so yeah, like the match is set basically for No Way Out. We thought because we could have turned this into another 8-part housekeeping, but I didn't want to do that again and punish our listeners.
Done well together,
with the homework.
No,
there were a couple of bits of any other business that I just wanted to attend to. Mark Mero and Sable on the 8th of December have a pretty famous segment, not least because it brings back one of our new generation favorites in Salvatore Sincere, who Mark Mero outs as a jobber called Tom Brandy. But that's not the point. He's not bothered about wrestling Tom Brandy. He's bothered about bollocking the audience for continuing to support Sable instead of him. And he says, I know what you're doing. I know what you're saying, what you're seeing in Sable. Well, I'll fix that for you. Sable, come on out. And out comes Sable, dressed head to toe in a potato sack. Mero gets her into the ring. He's really undermining her. He calls her my little spud. He says, I don't know what people are booing for. You look marvelous. And he says, anyway, before I defeat this jobber, Tom Brandy, disrobe me. And he holds his arms out for her to take the jacket off, but instead she disrobes herself. Off comes the potato sack. She's in this bikini. Mark Mero is fuming. The fans go nuts. Mark Mero frog marches Sable to the back, but in doing so, gets counted out, loses the match to Tom Brandy. And I included this segment really because while we've talked about changing of the guards between the likes of your Brett and your Shawn, and then your Shawn and your, well, like Steve Austin and even a bit of Rock and everybody else, the one thing that like we've not really touched on much in 1997 is how pretty much from the moment Mero came back as a boxer, Sable has taken Sonny's spot. We're going to see Sonny in odds and sods between now and the next few months. But like, this is the point, isn't it, where they realize, God, we are suddenly developing a roster full of moneymakers. And here's a new one. And Sable's performances, to her credit, she's not somebody that gets a lot of credit for her performances, but when she dials it back a bit and when she's understated, I think Sable's pretty good in the spot as well.
Yeah, it's a shit. I always just feel bad for Sonny because, like, that's her role. Like, and it's being, it starts with it's Sonny and it's Sable, and then it quickly becomes it's fucking Sable, and like she very clearly gets stepped over for it. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. This one's to kind of analyze because, like, the whole Mark Mero stuff, like, there's loads of it I find entertaining, and there's parts of it that are just grimy, aren't they, and problematic as a side of it, as is the control and stuff with Sable, as is, again, 13-year-old me's fucking cheering because Sable's getting a kit off, like, not really, not putting it together that, maybe the fact that a woman's motivation here in this segment is all women are just exhibitionists, I suppose, is what I'm supposed to learn from this. She just wants to show everyone what she looks like, and that evil Mark Mero isn't letting her, but yeah, it worked on me, and it probably shouldn't have, and it probably screwed a few of us up, and maybe kids as well, but she is undeniable as a star. She is, like, and that's she's not really that charismatic. She's not that good at acting. She definitely can't dance. She looks great, and then there is a star power there too as well. But personally, I would have always preferred Sonny in the role. I think she had more about her, and it's always a shame how that story ends.
We're going to get more of it as the months go on with Sable, obviously. But I just really quickly wanted to touch on this. I put this in as a bit of a note, really. It's from the 15th of December, right? Because there's a piece of commentary that I wanted to play for you, where it's Billy Gunn is on commentary, and it's the Road Dogg Wrestling Doodle-Off, as they've kind of continued this campaign of abuse against Mick Foley. And Billy Gunn's on the call. It's a taped Raw, and that's important because Jim Ross has started saying, he's already dropped in Outlaws a couple of times, but he says, you hang around here, you steal everybody's stuff, you attack everybody, and then you run away. You're a couple of new age outlaws. And I mention this because I just happened last week to see a Chris Van Vliet interview with Billy Gunn, right? And Billy Gunn mentions this story, and then my brain goes into overdrive. And he's telling Chris Van Vliet the story of the name, and he says he comes out in commentary, and he says, I can't remember when it was, but they put me on commentary, and I wasn't that confident on the microphone, but Road Dogg was in the ring, and I had to do the entrance and all that sort of stuff. And I'm doing commentary, and Jim Ross goes, hey, guys, you're a couple of new age outlaws. And Billy Gunn, in 1997, on this tape Raw, hears that and goes, on commentary, Jim, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. And then he gets backstage and realizes that that's all been put in place because that's the name they're going with. All the marketing, everything has been done. And Billy Gunn has buried this on air because nobody's smartened him up ahead of time. He's just like shot on the name. So when you watch this clip back, because it's taped, if you listen to it, they've made
I was going to say it's the opposite.
They've made Billy Gunn go back into the studio and say in a completely different voice to everything else in the call. Well, Jim, that sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah, he says he's going to steal it, doesn't he? Honestly, I watched that today and didn't realize that it was pre-recorded, so I'm just a dummy. Okay, yeah, that's bad.
So there you go. But like the first time he'd heard it, he thought it was shit and just buried it before he had to go.
I loved it. I thought it was a great name. I had like either in like eFeds I was creating or whatever. I'd always try and come up with another version. Like it'd be like the New Bandits or something like that. Like the New Age Sticky Bandits. Anything that could make it work, but it was never as cool. I love it as a name. I think it's great.
Speaking of new teams and new stables, it's a quick one from the 12th of January where The Rock and D'Lo Brown are taking on Ken Shamrock and Mark Henry. This is off the back of Mark Henry getting a kicking off the nation on an episode of Shotgun and Ken Shamrock making the save because he's going to be The Rock's first challenger for the IC title at the Royal Rumble. Mark Henry is coming out. He's the latest wrestler to come out to the theme that was once Bam Bam Bigelow's, Lawrence Taylor's, and now Butterbeans. They're just passing that one around.
I had that.
He's got a hook.
Sexy saxophone is back.
It's good, man. I like it. I wish it was still around. He's got a homemade shirt that says Rocky Sucks. And then Rock says before the match, he guarantees that he's going to rip that shirt off Henry's fat, ugly ass. But he dares Ken Shamrock to stay in the ring for the time being, and the match kicks off. The Nation cut the ring in half against Ken Shamrock. And when it looks like Mark Henry's finally going to get in, right as Ken Shamrock's got the ankle lock on the Rock, Mark Henry turns on Ken Shamrock with a clothesline and a power slam. He hits an elbow drop. Rock instructs him to hit another. And then all four of them gang up as it's revealed when the Rock, as promised, rips the shirt off, that the Mark Henry has joined the Nation of Domination. They pick Shamrock up. He hits a rock bottom on Ken Shamrock. Mark Henry plays referee and counts to 3. They all do the Nation salute. They're all like Jim Ross is really good at expressing disappointment, saying how his parents will be gutted and all this kind of thing. And then they walk towards the ramp, and Farouk is there, clearly having no idea that the Rock's orchestrated this thing. He's fucking raging that Mark Henry is now a member of the Nation. Rock's like, I got you this gift, Ron. What do you want? What do you want?
I love it.
Go to a brilliant interview backstage where like the Rock just eyeballs Farouk and says, I'd say this is the greatest day in the Nation's history. Well, the second after the Rock joined. He's pissing himself at his own lines. He says, now hang on, D'Lo, know your role. The Rock's talking, and this is all for Farouk. Farouk just looks absolutely furious as Michael Cole wraps up the first hour of Raw, and The Rock just flexes on camera, does the belt motion, does the eyebrow, chews every bit of scenery as Farouk just gives him a death stare at this whole. This is good stuff, this, isn't it?
It is, and like fair play to the real Ron Simmons, who's just willing to do this. Like it's such a weird way to put over the new star without really, we'll get to it, we're really doing a match or like a real turn or anything like that. It's just he slowly gets what should happen. The young guy becomes the leader and it becomes the Rock's Nation instead. But how they're getting there, and obviously there's the big segment to come. I can't wait to talk about with the gifts and all of that. But like these little bits I'd just forgotten about are absolutely brilliant, and it is. I love that in the Rock said it's like, yeah, I've given you 2 gifts. I gave you a new member, and I brought the IC title to the Nation. What more do you want? You must be made up, surely. Like, they play it so well, and I think Kama and D'Lo not selling for any of it is perfect as well for where we're about to go. Like, really good, underrated still. Great.
We've got a quick commercial on the 19th of January, Raw, for Raw Magazine. Who's that on camera?
Who's this
one? Vic Venom. He says, look, don't listen
to the voice of my childhood.
The chicken shit commentators on Raw. It's all in the Spaldings. Who's got them? You want fluff? Go eat a marshmallow. You want the dirt? Guess who's got the shovel? You want Raw? I'll go downright nasty. Do something with yourself. Send the cash. That is like right out of the NWO. Buy the shirt one. The black and white edit in the janky little bits of footage. He's nicked it. But like, again, just when like all the cogs are turning, this is liberally stolen by the NWO. But the man now holding a pencil has just cheekily got his mug on camera the one time to take a bit of credit for it, isn't he?
Love it as well. 12 issues of both, is it $30? And just the one's like 20. I assume that means one of the magazines and not just one Raw, single magazine for 20. I think so. Yeah, good deal. I'd have gone for it. That was always a massive thing. Like when they started selling Raw magazine over here, and you could start buying it. And like I love that within the pages of it, like the feud between Vince Russo, the editor, who's just an innocent hapless goon, and Vic Venom, the evil heel writer, and then eventually him being like, actually, to boast me, it was always a work, bro. And like genuinely me going, oh fuck. Never put that together. Amazing. But it's funny. It's mad how close he comes in and stuff like this and Livewire and never gets as far as he does in WCW. Like, he must have been a hair's breadth away from being a real character on telly. Like, I guess Vince just says no, but like, you could have seen that happening.
Yeah, definitely. He was obviously too busy, wasn't he? That's why he left anyway. Like, he was so busy.
I suppose so.
Stuff. That's it. It's like,
and he's an idiot, and I'll give him grief about everything. Very good on-screen performer in WCW. If you ignore the fact that he wrote the crap that he's doing, his actual performances, I'll always rate Vince Russo as a heel performer.
It's the great lost thing in wrestling, isn't it? That he's almost never been a character that he hasn't been writing himself. Like it's a bit like Eric Bischoff being the Raw general manager, isn't it? He would just turn up to work on Mondays as a TV character. Vince Russo was never really just that guy. Like I wouldn't have minded that at all.
Quentin Tarantino wrote himself into his films, but slightly less problematic. But anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah, only slightly. And then speaking of the NWO, I just included this as a bit of a fun Easter egg. We get the last No Way Out promo video before the pay-per-view itself on the 9th of February Raw. And this is great because they've not really been talking about like In Your House or No Way Out. They're just talking about the big pay-per-view coming before WrestleMania, you know. But at some point backstage, somebody realized that like No Way Out could be shortened to NWO. And that put somebody within the Fed in such a panic that they decided to add of Texas to the last trailer in a different font, in a different color, with a different voiceover. Like the Fed would never ever do this, but like what a strange little way to sell for WCW here. No Way Out of Texas, like just chucked in on this last promo. And then by the time you get to the pay-per-view itself, which we'll obviously review on the next edition of the pod, there's still it's still a bit of both, isn't it? You know, you never get it again after this, but this, you could tell it was still, God forbid, well, we've not won yet, you know, God forbid we give them anything.
Well, it comes full circle, doesn't it? 2002, and they get to name the show that, and also bring them in at the same time as well. But yeah, it was always, as a kid, it was like, again, Finn Martin law. Oh, did you get that? They stole NWO and they called it No Way Out instead. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that counts. It's on the same list with DX stealing New Jack's X-Torn term. I mean, I guess they did, kind of, technically, but it's so funny how we're scared.
Not really, yeah. So that's it. Just another simple 2 hours for another 2 months of television where we could have gone even deeper. Benno, it's
you did well, mate. Like to get that into one housekeeper. Like we flirted with the idea of a double housekeeper, but I think you did well to get it in one. But I guess we still got the obviously only the 5-star review to go make though as well, and that's a corker too. So perfect to close things out. I feel like we're going full circle on what we talked about at the top of the show.
It is indeed a beauty this month. For those that don't know, if you're listening for the first time, congratulations for getting this far in. But we do something when we have the time on this podcast called the 5-star match review. It's very simple. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever your podcast app of choice is. Help us rig the charts. Help us game the algorithms, all that good stuff. Find eyes, find ears with a 5-star review. If you want to put something in the comments, myself and Benno to review on a housekeeping edition of the podcast, it could be something from the new generation. It could be something from the Attitude Era. It could be something featuring CM Punk, Shawn Michaels, anybody you like. Give us a request and we will find time to review it on these housekeepings in the comments to a 5-star review. And we've got an absolute doozy here, Benno. I want to say that like Emperor Steve has requested something that I wouldn't encourage other people to copy, but as a one-off, I think we can allow this one. Because Emperor Steve has said, let's have a 5-star reviewing of the 1995 Royal Rumble, please. Short but sweet Rumble is a holiday gem of mine. You both have a poetic way to talk about the matches. Thank you for the content on all the channels. Well, thank you, Emperor Steve, for the 5-star review, for the nice words, and for giving us, I think I can say this confidently on your behalf, Benno, the only Rumble match we would ever consider reviewing for this feature. Am I right about that?
100%. 100%. I mean, maybe I consider, consider we just talked at the 98 one, but yeah, like this is a Rumble and like all the others, and maybe with some comparison pieces to the 1998 Rumble, but yeah, very, very different time, although the same in a lot of ways as well, mate. But no, cracking choice, and of course we were happy to grant it. Just nobody's allowed to pick Shawn versus Bret Hart match. Okay, I think that's my only rule. I don't have rules outside of that. I think I'll review anything else.
That's it, yeah. It's a sort of fool's errand to get either of us, or if all for that matter, like our friends over at Bretro, to give that one a look. It's funny how like both sides are avoiding that same match. Maybe that's like a dreaded 4-way all coming together one again, where we all just finally bite the bullet and watch it together.
We could watch this Rumble twice before we could finish that match, and that says everything. It's a WrestleMania main event with my favorite wrestler of all time in it, and Bret Hart. Come on.
Well, we could watch it twice, and I think I'd like it more, to be honest, because I'm going to do a quick recap, because quick is the name of the game here on this 1995 Royal Rumble. For the first time ever, the intervals are going to be 1 minute long, and to that point, the first two entrants are Shawn Michaels in his lovely red gear and with his missus's initials on his glove, and Davey Boy Smith in his 1994/95 return shorts with a little cartoon bulldog on the side, the long hair. Looking good, Davey Boy Smith at this point. And it's a kind of an old rivalry renewed, and we get the two men fighting. Instantly, you realize how quick these intervals are, because it barely feels like they touched each other before Eli Blue, one of the Harris twins, is out next. He's looking like when it was basically all of a sudden the Fed had brought back two tall berserkers, but there they were, the Blue twins. Our old In Your House 6 man of the match, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, is third in his grey bin man gear. Of course, the only pay-per-views he worked was these two Rumbles, 95 and 96, and In Your House 6 against Triple H. So he's out third. Jimmy Del Rey comes out next. At this point, Lawler reveals that Sean was going to be his prediction, but now he's going to have to change it because there's no chance anybody wins from number one. Sean does a couple of elimination teases, but then Sione from the Head Shrinker comes in next. Sean bumps for him. Bulldog gets rid of Jimmy Del Rey. And just as Del Rey is leaving, in comes Tom Pritchard, the other heavenly body.
All the stars are here.
Oh, well, this is it. If you think I'm racing through these, it's because there is nothing to say about any of them or what they do in the match. I promise when there's something of note, I will take a breather and a break. Because Sione's got Sean in the press slam. Sean's able to survive. While Doink enters next with Dink. And I want to cut in briefly here to say that my son Charlie was watching with me when I had this on the big telly at home. And he just looks up and he says, he's not a wrestler. And I just said, well, he's kind of like a wrestling clown. And Charlie just said, oh, strange, and just went back to his iPad. So there's like
right reaction.
Positive that even a version of a target audience wasn't coming along for the ride in 1995. Next out, Quang, the sound of 250 pounds of shit hitting the fan. Lawler notes how fast they're coming in, almost criticizing it. And Vince says, oh, it's the fastest paced Royal Rumble of all time, Jerry. He keeps saying that like Wrestler X is having his problems. That is one line because there's no time to get any of the lines in. So-and-so's having his problems, all that. The model Rick Martel is next in like fuchsia colored trunks, purple knee pads, and white boots. Like he's barely been featured in 1994. So it feels like he's been gone 100 years by the time he turns up at the start of 1995. Bear in mind, by the way, Strike Force broke up in 1989. So by this point, he's been the model. He's been that gimmick, the model Rick Martel, for 6 years. So if that was today, it means he started being the model during the pandemic. Just to live with that one for a second. Because it honestly feels like a guy from 1972 has arrived in the match here. Next up is our old friend, the Nugget, Owen Hart. But before he can even make it to the ring, Bret Hart decks him. Of course, earlier in the night, Bret and Diesel had fought for the WWF title, and Owen Hart had been one of the men to interfere. So Bret's getting his revenge. The commentators
behind though. I mean, righteous Bret Hart, you know, not to bring up the argument from the Grapple quiz last week, but like, full on clocks him in the back of the head. It's like, I don't know about that. It's babyface behavior. More aggressive, the commentary says.
That's it. Jerry Lawler doesn't like it. Vince calls him more aggressive. Do you remember when he had his little beard that he'd grown in from Lonesome Dove when he fought Jeff Jarrett with William Shatner on the first Housekeeping? And it's like, this is Bret's new way.
Good times.
Anyway, Owen's got a great little bit here. Owen Hart is basically thrown into the ring, and off camera, he's eliminated by the British Bulldog because he's been decked by Bret. But we don't see that. What we see is Timothy Well coming to the ring. And it sounds like Timothy Well's getting an Austin pop because the crowd are reacting to Owen getting thrown over the top.
I thought they thought it was like Marty Jannetty or something, or like he just didn't click on who to. Was it Scott Steiner? Just he's shrunk down. Oh, fucking what? Right, okay, that's what it is. I wonder where the pop came from.
So weird seeing Timothy Well run at the ring in his little well done singlet and getting that reaction. And he's basically the cue for the first Deadwood clear out. Out goes Deep Drosy and he takes out a referee at the same time. There goes Rick Martel. There goes Tom Pritchard. There goes Doink. Bushwhacker Luke comes in as Eli Blue and Sione get eliminated. Results in Shawn Michaels, Davey Boy Smith, and Luke, which must be a timing issue because they realize that they want to make a big deal out of Sean and Davey, and Luke gets thrown out. This is interesting. These 1 minute intervals are like legit. So the wrestlers genuinely don't have the time to like set spots up. So that's how you end up with a little fuck up like this. Jacob Blue comes in. Sean bumps hard for Jacob Blue's clotheslines, punches, tips him over the top. And finally, you get your Sean and your Bulldog visual where it's like, these were the ones in at the start and now they're the ones still in. And like, it's the first point where the commentators are asking you to be like impressed that these two were at the beginning and they're somehow still there. King Kong Bundy is out next. And obviously the big man with these two smaller ones in there. As he hits the ring, nothing really happens. And then Mo is next. And Mo is backdropped out by King Kong Bundy in a second. There is a video by my colleague and friend, Adam Nicholas, available on his Twitter. It's Adam Nicholas that we made called 21 Seconds to Mo, set to the So Solid Crew song, because it takes exactly 21 seconds from Mo's klaxon to him getting thrown out over the top. This is so quick and pathetic. But it's all right because Mabel is next. He's promoing as he walks down to the ring about how he's going to take out Bundy. This is pretty brilliant. The big lads are going for it. Bushwhacker Butch comes down, and then as Bushwhacker Butch is arriving at the ring, Mabel lumbers King Kong Bundy over the top rope. Shawn Michaels gets rid of Butch. The baby faces are ganging up on Shawn Michaels, but Shawn's putting his arm under the post. He's doing everything he can to survive. Big pop next because here comes Lex Luger, one of the only other real stars in this match. He's looking as like lean as Lex Luger would ever look. I think it's fair to say at this point. But he's taking out everybody. He tips Mabel over the top rope, which is, pretty impressive. He batters Shawn like a house of fire. He leaves Davey Boy Smith alone because the Allied powers are not that far away. He does a press slam and the two of them team up, but they can't get Shawn out. In comes Mantar. I mean, he's a human cow. What do you want? Aldo Montoya is out. He's got a jockstrap on his head. The Allied powers double team Mantar. Shawn and Aldo have a little click brawl. I guess that's Justin getting his moment in with Shawn, isn't it? Vince on commentary says, there's only 9 men left. This has flown. He's not fucking wrong, is he? Henry Godwin is next in his bright yellow shirt. This is the first cut in the entire match to special guest Pamela Anderson. He walked out with the star, is going to accompany the winner of this complete shit show to WrestleMania. Like, in terms of celebrity, you're nearly talking Mike Tyson level. And only now have they thought to go, we should probably mention Pamela Anderson at ringside, by the way. And even then, I think it's more to make the joke that it could be that she could have to accompany a pig farmer rather than because she's a massive star. I really like the Adidas dress she's got as well. Billy Gunn is out next, and he does that thing where he slides in and nearly goes out the other side of the ring because he clears that much of it.
He loves
Bart Gunn. He loves it. Bart Gunn is next. They're both out there. Mantar tries to ambush them. Bob Backlund is out next, but Bret Hart is back for him as well. Again, there's been like 4 pops or something this entire match, and this is one of them. Can we talk, by the way, Bret has no wrist tape and elbow pads and looks naked as a result, doesn't he? Because his match is finished. So he's trying to make it look different.
He was ready to go home. Then he found out he had the booking at the Rumble in the Rumble match as well.
And he got there late as well, so he's already trying to cut his shift short. The same thing happens. Well done, symmetry, Benno, because as Stephen Dunn enters, Luger eliminates Bob Backlund. So again, another member of Well Done gets a pop because they want to Bret's.
I think they're just over, mate. I think that's what it is. It's just a big town for them.
Bret and Bob brawl again. Vince calls Bret a man possessed, and you realize that that's what they are doing, is setting up the WrestleMania match between these two. Right. Let's take a pause for the first time in this fastest Royal Rumble ever. It's Jesus Christ, Benno. It's KKK member Dick Murdoch out next. What the fuck?
Did you? I sent you a picture of him before. And again, Michael's not wrong. I mean, with the KKK stuff, we can talk. Maybe we can talk Jacob and Eli Blue as well when it comes to that. But the visual of this man. This is the 1995 Royal Rumble. He comes out I hope you've looked it up too. I was floored when I looked up how old he was at this point. I don't know if you've got the number in front of you.
I've got it in front of me.
A 48-year-old man who dies the next year at 49. And also had an appearance at WCW Slamboree on pay-per-view in this year. In 1995. What? None of it makes any sense. It's like your granddad's come out, innit? I've seen. When we do overall thoughts, I'll talk about it more. I've got a perfect memory of watching this thing either live or the day after. I'd totally forgotten the fucking granddad wobbles out here. He looks like he run 50 decades before. This is worse than black and white stuff. This is radio wrestling, mate. This is not black and white wrestling. What the fuck is going on?
It's like a Janela booking, isn't it? He should be in black and white. They should have made him look like a black and white wrestler compared to all the rest.
Good digs, I'll give him that. Good punches, at least that.
I've worked punches, kid. Learn how to work.
No one wants to sell him, but good punches. Shawn doesn't want him. It's only 95. Shawn's not fully formed Shawn yet.
So we are referring to a man who is the same age as WrestleMania main event as CM Punk. That's what you're telling me.
And Grapple Gareth, who when I sent him the image before, reliably told me he turns that age next month. Sorry, Gareth.
Oh God. No, this is good. Let's turn a negative into a positive. This means there's still time for you to enter the Rumble, Gareth.
Honestly. And he'd look less out of place.
He would.
He could have turned up in Saudi and it would have been, oh yeah, there's the podcast, the Grapple Garden from the Grapple podcast. It would make more sense than fucking Dick Murdoch being in the 1995 Rumble. Like, I must have erased it from my brain because, again, I watched this at the time. Man, fucking, because everyone brings up, what's the one with Backlund and all the lads coming out for the first time? Is that 93? Is it the one that's similar to this with all the old men? Like, this, I would just assumed it was then. Like, it's not, it's here. It's fucking crazy.
You've got Carlos Colon when Gorilla calls him the youngster. That's 93.
That's who I was pulling, yeah. Shouldn't have done that here. Call back.
What a friggin', like, visually right from one to another. Dick Murdoch is followed by Adam Bomb. Like, in terms of, like, us as kids, wrestlers you like versus wrestlers you couldn't give a shit about, there might be no two more than Dick Murdoch and Adam Bomb. Nice. He's got a late number. Adam Bomb's going to win the Rumble, blah, 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 blah. Vince on commentary, to be fair, says, oh, it's amazing. Bulldog and Shawn are still out there. They're still in the ring. And I'm thinking, it is, but like the match is 20 minutes old. Like, I know you're supposed to say that in the late stages of the Rumble, but like when you've only got 20 entrants in there. Anyway, the match continues on. We get Fatu from the Head Shrinkers. We get Crush as the last man, and they're all giving it the big, and Crush is going to win the Rumble. He's too big, all that kind of stuff. Both guns get eliminated together. Aldo Montoya chucks Stephen Dunn. It's at that point when you look at some of the complete losers in the ring, and Vince says, one of these men is going to WrestleMania to be escorted by Pamela Anderson. And it's basically the most obvious, it's like the most obvious 3-horse race ever, isn't it? With Sean Luger and the Bulldog and fucking nobody else. Dick Murdoch tries to eliminate Shawn Michaels, and it occurs to me at this point that, like, not coincidentally, this is the only point at which this match is dragged, because there's nobody left to come through that curtain anymore, and I've got to watch Dick Murdoch wrestle. Like, it's just all of a sudden the mood has changed. Aldo Montoya is gone.
The Dick Murdoch and Pamela Anderson dream dies. It's unbelievable. I was hoping.
Montoya is the next to go. Shawn Michaels survives yet again. Fatu does his bump that he loves, where he spins in midair off a crushed clothesline. He's eliminated. Dick Murdoch is finally dealt with by Henry Godwinn, and we're down to a final 5 of Lex, Davey, Shawn, Crush, and Henry Godwinn. What the fuck is this? Shawn and Crush kind of like give each other the eyes, and then all of a sudden Henry Godwinn's out of there. Shawn and Crush see Lex Luger and shockingly eliminate Lex Luger. So we're down to the 2 heels versus British Bulldog. It's like the Battle Royal at Royal Albert Hall all over again. Crush turns on Shawn Michaels, almost press slams him out, but Michaels manages to rake the eyes. Bulldog hits a running clothesline at Shawn. Shawn moves out the way. Bulldog hits Crush. Crush goes to the floor, and we are back right where he started. To be absolutely fair, the crowd come up for this as if they've been watching these two men for hours. Like, Shawn and Davey are selling the exhaustion, all that kind of stuff. There's like the circle the ring. It's a big response. There's an actual rumble in the building. Pamela Anderson kind of looks into it, but she's mainly pointing at the cameraman to go back to the ring because she doesn't really want to be associated with this very much. They brawl. They do their mini Bulldog Shawn match, which always hits unless you're Davey Boy Smith is a heel in 1996. Shawn takes a massive bump off the kick. They do the corner bump that they like. Bulldog crotching him on the ropes. We've all seen that routine. It always works. Shawn is pinballing around the ring at this point. Shawn gets Bulldog gets a running clothesline. Shawn goes over the top rope, and that is it. The Bulldog's music hits. The Bulldog is going to WrestleMania. Get in the ring, Pamela. You're coming to Wigan. But no, Shawn Michaels returns back in the ring, decks him from behind. The Bulldog tumbles to the ground. Nobody seems to know what's going on. And then it is announced that the winner of the 1995 WWF Royal Rumble from number 1 is Shawn Michaels. They show the replay again. This is why they call him the showstopper, the main event of the icon that can still go, because the slow motion replay is amazing. How many times could Shawn have screwed this up? That one foot. He's trying to get his left leg on the apron so many times to build the drama, to make it seem as if the Bulldog really has won. The athleticism, the strength. He could have fucked it up 10 different times. It's genuinely amazing. It's worthy of the praise that it still gets to this day. Of course it does. It's a fucking heartbreak. Pay him some respect. And he's got it done in 38 minutes and 41 seconds. Benno, I want you to know that the All-In Casino Gauntlet at All-In Dallas went 34.55. Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland from Forbidden Door 2026 went 35 minutes and 30 seconds. Will Ospreay versus Hangman Page from Double or Nothing 26 went 36.56. And Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega from Full Gear 2019 went 38 minutes and 46 seconds, 5 seconds longer than the entire Royal Rumble. That's why Sean's the god.
It's funny because, like, I wouldn't have put that together, but, like, I don't know whether I prefer to watch either as well, but I did have fun rewatching this again. Like, I've got, like I said before, like, such a big memory of watching this. Like, I always, like, try and pinpoint on these, especially in those early housekeepings. When did we get Sky on the Owls? When was it I first started watching? And I assumed it was after Mania 11. But, like, I distinctly remember watching this. Like, whether we got a tape the day after or what. But, like, me and our Peter, because I'll always give our Peter, who gets a lot of shout-outs on this, like, he gets the credit as being the first one in our household to be like, no, I like him, in Shawn Michaels. Because I distinctly remember me and him as kids watching this Rumble, and it's the perfect Rumble to do it, because Bulldog and Sean start, and, like, we both pick a side. I'm still in, like, the mold of, well, British Bulldog's the goodie, and he's from Britain, so, of course, I like him, and I'll cheer him. And he just randomly, it felt like it decided he was going to cheer for the baddie in Shawn Michaels. I didn't know that was allowed, Michael. I didn't know you could actually do that. And, like, through this entire Rumble, we're just, like the match that's happening in front of you, we're going back and forth on, like, who's going to win, and whether I should be cheering for Sean, or whether he should be being loyal to the British Bulldog. And then for it to come down to then, and then for that finish to happen where I remember I'm celebrating legitimately Bulldogs won, only for Sean to come back and throw him out, and our Peter gets to have the last laugh. Like, I almost think in that moment I feel like I went, you know what, actually it'd be easier to be on Sean's side, fucking him with you. Yeah, Sean won. And, like, honestly, they got me through that emotional roller coaster. Which is all to say, that's what I remember of it, because the fucking bums that are in this thing, you needed that all-time Shawn Michaels performance. It felt like, you know, when you were saying about, like, the teams in the mid-90s, like, we got one of them, so let's make two. Like, there's so many of those types of tag teams in this, where it's like, you got one loser, well, guess what? Here's the other one. Here's Timothy Well. You had Jason Dunn. Guess what? You get him. Like, over and over and over again. Like, it's embarrassingly bad. But at the end of the day, Sean and Bulldog was what mattered. And if you were booked into this corner, I probably still wouldn't have called Dick Murdoch. But, like, I love the stroke of literally, they're two of the 4 stars that are actually in this. Fuck it, they're both going all the way. And how else would Shawn Michaels win this thing? Like, considering the circumstances, I do think it's brilliant. And I had a great time watching it again.
Well done. Like, what even is that? Like, it doesn't even sound impressive. Like, good work. Like, Stephen Good and Frank Work or something. They're low effort shit. Like, honestly.
Even Stephen flows better, innit? Like, geez. So like, shit. And again, the comparison point to the 98 Rumble, fucking Eli and Jacob Blue shitting it up. I feel like it took me half a year to realise that's who DOA were and that's who 8 Ball and Skull were. Like, I blame them for the 2 bad Rumbles, but is it a bad Rumble? It's the worst. I'd say it's got the lowest level of star of a Rumble ever. But actually, it's a good Rumble because of what they do with that material. But, like, you know, it has got an asterisk next to it because of the list of fucking geeks that are in it.
Yeah, the pace is incredible, obviously, and it's watchable as a result of that. I think it's a fantastic snapshot of a not fantastic roster. It's fun to see them all together, even if there's so few fun people. Like, the colors, the whole deal. It's like, this is way more. When we reviewed, like, season 1, like, we were kind of like staunch defenders of the bits of the new generation that worked. This is way more broken new generation than stuff we were reviewing 6 months later. Like, it's in a much worse place roster wise than it would be even like one Rumble on, even when there was less money in the coffers, you know. It's funny you mentioned about Sean winning. My dad would always wind me up by supporting Shawn Michaels because he loved the barbershop segment so much and the few bits of wrestling he would see when I was watching. But I remember treating this Rumble like it was a bit of a form thing because Sean had a good Rumble in 94. Do you remember? Like, he'd made it down to the last 4. And something about it, I remember thinking, Dad, you know what? He might have a shot in this one because he's your favorite. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, I think the time is right. But then that's, as a kid, what you're not processing is, because they're all, as you say, they're all bums. You don't have the language to realize they're bums.
Absolutely.
But something about you says, Sean's got a chance. And that's it, isn't it? That's even as a kid, you're sort of identifying who's good and who's bollocks. And it's just funny how it works. I really enjoyed getting to recap that. I didn't expect it to be as recapable as it was, but it's the only one of its kind, really, isn't it?
Definitely. Good fun. And again, there hasn't been a worse last 6 men in a Rumble since I was in the Future Shock Royal Rumble and somehow found myself in the final 5 and had to tap Dick Feelgood on the shoulder and say, throw me out, get me out of here. So maybe that's what Henry O'Goblin was thinking when he was in that final 5.
Oh, I love it, man. That's the insight that you only get on Benno and Hamflett. And if you want to go to Benno's personal YouTube channel, you can see nearly all of the big 4 attended to. You've got, of course, a Survivor Series match. You've got a Royal Rumble match. You've got a WrestleMania quality match with Johnny Fear, and you've got a 2-night SummerSlam quality sell of that spinning powerbomb gimmick deal. So yeah, it's all available for you to see on that channel. We should probably very briefly talk about No Way Out of Texas before we get out of here, shouldn't we, Benno?
Of course.
Obviously, we have covered that Stone Cold Steve Austin will team with Owen Hart, Cactus Jack, and Chainsaw Charlie against DX and the New Age Outlaws. More on that when we get to the show itself. If it sounds like we haven't really covered any of this, it's because how could we have? Because we've got the artist formerly known as Goldust and Mark Mero versus the Headbangers. Bradshaw versus Jeff Jarrett. There is a lot more to that, which we will cover when we cover the pay-per-view. A war of attrition between the Nation of Domination, our new friends, the DOA, Ken Shamrock, and Ahmed Johnson. Taka Michinoku defending his light heavyweight title against Pantera in another sort of Challenger of the Month deal. And then, oh my God, he's back again. The Godwins, Henry O and Phineas I, versus Benno. Do you know this?
I just see it. I just say it as you want to say it.
The fucking Quebecers. More on that in next month's podcast. Yeah, I am ready. I am ready for the visuals to blow your mind before we try and do it justice on the audio as well. The small matter of Kane having a singles match against the last big man in the WWF now that he's burnt his brother alive in Vader as well. Rounding off this incredibly weird looking show. I can't wait, mate.
That's so funny. I remember Pantera. I remember the finish to Kane and Vader distinctly. Obviously, I remember what happens with the main event and nobody caring who's going to be on a particular team. No memory at all of the Quebecers being here, fucking PCO being here. I cannot wait to see that. And also, speaking of memory, I love that like through the entire season, end of season 1 and start of season 2, I've gone through all the emotions of forgetting that we get another Ahmed Johnson match on an In Your House, and then remembering it again, and then forgetting it again, and I just got to experience the emotion again of remembering we got a bit of Ahmed. Thank God he will never be gone fully, at least in our hearts.
It's got the lot, mate. It's got the lot. As hopefully this housekeeping has to get us back on track on the road to No Way Out, as we indeed go on the road to WrestleMania. If only Tyson was on this card as well. Join us for that next time. And if you want a bit more of us in the meantime, you can find me, What Culture, wherever you get your podcast. Search for What Culture Wrestling. 1/3 of the Dudley Boys with Michael Sidgwick. Send your best to Adam Wilborn. He'll be recovering as you listen to this from a broken right wrist, having fallen off his bike. He'll be back on the channel as soon as he's healthy to do so. But the three of us typically review Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, pay-per-views, premium live events, often when there's 2 on the same fucking weekend because WWE continue to counter promote. And then basically all the sort of good wrestling needs. Search us up on YouTube. And I'm at hamflex@gmail.com if you want to send emails, because I am trying to remain off of social media when why would I need it? Because I've got access to the wonderful Grapple Discord.
Oh, what a man. What a layup. I will say firstly, obviously, best wishes to Adam. Hope he's doing well. But yeah, on our side, obviously, Grapple Discord, always up and running. As always, bit of arguing going on. We did the Benno Grapple quiz this weekend. If you want more questions about my wrestling career, why wouldn't you? We did have a round on that. We had a Sean versus Punk round that had Michael's fingerprints on it, maybe, because I got a couple of the questions from it. I think people will enjoy, as well as some general knowledge stuff as well. So a fun time was had by all. So check that out if you haven't already. We got a little mixtape coming up with our World Cup finalists. Still arguing about that show. That's coming out as well as all our usual stuff. As Michael said, there's a lot of fucking pay-per-views coming up and a big old busy summer. It'll be all in before we know it. SummerSlam, obviously, as well. And we'll be covering all of that over at Grapple. Just search Grapple, Noe, wherever you get your podcasts, or patreon.com/Grapple for the premium stuff.
Well, and I guess, Benno, until we find ourselves in Texas hunting for a 4th man, thanks for the house.
Yeah, nice.